You are now listening to the Old Head, New Head podcast with your hosts, Eric Iberg and Ethan Schaefer.
Goddamn kids.
Shut up, old man!
What's up?
Fucking just getting all stoked.
It's gonna be sick. You were doing some big research this morning, it looks like.
Well, dude, I just typed his name. I wanted to check his age, and then I was like, "Fuck, man, he's 21, so he's there with Caleb and what's his name?" And then I saw his last name. I'm like, Harrington. I wonder if his dad's that photographer. And I forgot the photographer's name. I just knew there was big. I thought he was Aussie my whole life, and then I researched it, and his dad was Greg Harrington, not Tony Harrington, the photographer from New Zealand or Australia. So his dad was like a big pro mogul guy in America in the 90s. And then I was just laughing. And then I was just thinking, I was like, fuck, man, you know, like Julian could have been his daddy. This kid's so young, it's awesome.
That is awesome. All right, let's see. What you picking out over there? You rolling something up?
Yeah, gotta big up fucking Ross Jacob. Fucking Dark Horse Farms in Minnesota, as always, man. It's got my THC and CBD needs. You guys should check out him, Ross Jacob, online. If you're in Minnesota, he can help you out. He can set up grows for you at your house, get you what you need, whatever. Big up Ross Jacob. And then we always gotta big up fucking Blazy Susan, because Blazy Susan lets me wrap this mass quantity of herbs and smoke them and then count them. So give thanks to all the people that helped me out through my podcast times.
Beautiful. And I screwed myself yesterday. I drank the rest of my Rainiers. I went to every liquor store in Mammoth, and they're out. No Rainiers.
Wow, man. Lucky you're getting closer to the source, right? Going up to Hood next week?
Yep. Yeah, we're one step closer to Seattle. So hopefully, maybe while I'm at Hood, I'll run up there and meet up with the fine folks at Rainier. But we got something good that happened this morning. I don't know if you noticed. We officially passed $1,000 on the GoFundMe.
No way. I looked this morning. It must have just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. I got an email about it. And let's see who brought us over the $1,000 mark.
Give thanks while he's looking to everyone that's contributed to the GoFundMe, because it's more for an idea of just like, I like it for the idea you get to see who supports skiing. Like, even if it's $1, it's like, fuck yeah, I'm so into this shit. So give thanks, guys. We're doing the show anyway, but all the money does help. Like, it does. We do this pretty much for free.
Big time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick Geiser. He's the one that got us over the $1,000 mark.
Hell
and
yeah.
hopefully the GoFundMe's still up. By the time this is coming out, we got everything's in the description. We got GoFundMe, we got hoodies, we got freestyleskingmuseum.com. If Iberg's staying on top of shit.
freeskingmuseum.com.
Free Skiing Museum.
We got B&E Store with all Phil and Hendrick's pro model gears. We got fucking Bark and Bite video game demo coming out on the Steam platform probably by now. So if you're a gamer on Steam, go check out Bark and Bite. Big up Matt Schwagler.
Yep. And you know what we haven't talked about yet? We haven't talked about I don't want to get the name wrong. Is it Lil B-Dog's Big Adventure or something like that?
Oh, yeah, it's Lil B-Dog, First Ski Adventure.
First Ski Adventure.
True, we haven't talked about that. Was my first published book.
Maybe we
can go on. And
we can talk about it a little bit now, but we'll save the deep talk about it for our episode with Phil this season.
But go check that out. It's on Amazon. It's at the B&E Store. But Lil B-Dog, First Ski Adventure. And by the time this comes out, hopefully I got Lil B-Dog learns to count. Lil B-Dog learns the alphabet. And these motherfuckers will be in French, too, hopefully by this fall.
That'd be sick. And then B-Dog Gone Wild. Is that going to be another children's book?
I don't think so. I want to really do a book on like a biography kids book.
Yeah.
Like something you'd get in school, like at elementary school, and you go in and it's like colorful book with a bunch of photos that gives their history of their life, but it's maybe only 30 pages long.
Yeah.
And then it's so something easy reading for late elementary is my next dream to make his biography book.
I like that. Then you could do Ski Boss's Adventure.
Well, there's so many. I mean, I got so inspired because I was like, dude, Michaela Schifrin, all these racers have them, and they were put out by not ESPN. Maybe it was ESPN or something. It was some kind of group that like hires a writer and then they organize the photos, and it's so stock and basic. I'm like, man, I think I can learn how to do that.
Yeah, could probably do it more ill. Sick. So we teased it a little bit, but we got Luca Harrington today, winner of X Games slopestyle this year and silver medal in big air. And he was an alternate. He wasn't even in the comp originally. Then he ended up podiuming both.
So he's 21. And I'll be honest, before now, like I didn't even remember that he won X Games a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember his story of who he was, not being qualified and winning. But like, how long have you known who Luca is?
I've known of his brother longer, Ben, because Ben's been a fan of the podcast for a long time, so he's always interacted with whatever I've been putting out. And then turns out he has a brother, Luca, and Luca's sick too. So that's all.
So Ben is older.
Yeah.
And Ben's a pipe skier.
Yes.
And then Luca's a big air and slopestyle guy.
Yeah.
All right.
They got the whole fam in the mix. But did you know about him before X Games at all?
No.
No.
I didn't know these families. Like, I was blown away. I'm like, what the fuck? I watched this, like, New Zealand news show on Ben and Luca from, like, 2-3 years ago out of Wanaka. And they're like, there's something in the water at Wanaka. And then they went through, like, Nico and his brother Porteous. Am I saying their names right?
Yeah, that's the last name, yeah.
So there's those brothers and then the Wells brothers. And they did a whole little documentary on skiing brothers in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked because what I learned, I love when small countries, like, kids like go on certain platforms, like what the Wells did for New Zealand.
Yeah.
They put that fucking country on the map in the sport of skiing, right? Yeah. So when I look at a whole family doing that, that was amazing. And then I noticed when I was doing my research today, Luca was the first New Zealand person ever to win a Crystal Globe in winter skiing.
Sick.
So, and that's a big deal. Like it's not like in America, like we know a million people that have 100 Crystal Globes. I mean, in Canada, same thing. Michael Kingsbury, the mogul guy, has like maybe 100 Crystal Globes.
He's the GOAT, yeah.
You know, the Andre Rigawati, like he's probably got 1 million globes, but like it's so dope when you come from what the Wells have accomplished, the Porteous kids, and now you're able to bring something that they never got. Yeah, thought that was ill as fuck.
No, that's pretty epic. I think this is our first Kiwi guest. It must be. There's no way we had another one.
No.
Yeah, we're talking Kiwi skiing. All right.
And then his dad was the man, and then his brother's the man. So it's Wanaka, man. What the fuck is up with Wanaka? Is Wanaka like a beautiful, non-inhabited aspen of New Zealand?
I'm gonna look it up. I got no idea.
Because it just seems so out of realistic for a common person. It seems so luxurious. It's so awesome.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna be sick. I'm glad we're getting like another. It's so funny how young the age group is for big air. Like Matei is also young as hell, and we just had him. Seems like you gotta be like 20 to 22 to really dominate in big air.
You kind of have to because you have to be so ignorant to what's going on. Like it's so fucking gnarly. And then all of a sudden it's the injuries now where it's like you're kind of gonna huck if you're super scared to do it. You know there's a good chance of injury coming. It's kind of like watching Olympic halfpipe.
Yeah.
Where you're just like hold your breath every time they land because they want to boost, and you know if they hit the deck or the flat bottom, they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like I remember whether it was China or South Korea, I just held my breath. I'm just like, that guy's gonna die. And then if he landed, you're like, yeah. So it's like one of the big air and halfpipe are these two beyond. Halfpipe, you can be technical and you can be what's his name? Fucking David Weiss.
Yeah.
You know, he's like Andy McDonald or Tony Hawk or Bucky Lassick, right? He knows transition and he can stay alive. But it doesn't matter how well you know transition in big air. You're going to take an impact.
Yeah, you got to be perfect. Like literally perfect every hit.
And how do you be perfect on something you've never done before? Like half pipe doesn't have that. No one's going into a pipe contest and be like, yo, I think I got the 16.
Yeah.
You know, it's already such an unsafe sport where you're going to be like, I'm going to land. And if I land and I'm perfect, I win. Ski big air is like, holy shit, what's no one else done? I got to add a flip or a spin.
Yeah. I don't like watching pipe in person.
No, it's not fun.
No. Well, I mean, it's super sick, but like you said, like it looks like their head's always about to hit the deck. And then Big Air this year, every hit was in the audience was just holding their breath because these guys are spinning and flipping like you've never seen it before.
I'll say it again. The dopest Big Air I watched was a women's snowboard Big Air. Never seen so much style with such big tricks.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, all right, so I'll send it to Luca. I ran into him at Mammoth. I'm still here. He's still here. And I was like, yo, this dude would be pretty good for the show. We found a day that was shitty weather, which is today.
Nice.
And we're making this happen. We're making it happen.
Shitty means high winds or what?
Yeah, I mean it's been windy since Saturday, and we're recording on a Tuesday, and it's like super gray and like 30 degrees out today, and it was 65 all last week. So I think everyone's gonna give it a little bit of a break right now.
My favorite thing to do in Mammoth is when Midwest people visited me, and then I'd wake up in the morning and I'd look out the window and it'd be sunny and 50 degrees. And I'd be like, nah, we're not going up today. It's so windy up there. I'm like, what? They'd just be in awe. They're like, are you retarded? This is the best day I've ever seen in my life. I go, see the top of that pine tree? It's moving. That's bad for up on the hill. And they would be so blown away. But
Yeah.
we got them.
Oh, sick.
Boom.
What up, Luca? I'm not sure we got audio on you. Let's see if we could dial this in.
Good. Are we good now?
We're good now. Let's do it.
Oh,
Good to see you again.
you as well?
This
Nice
is
to meet you.
Zyberg.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Sick. So, are you still in Mammoth, right?
Yeah.
Sick. Me too. I was
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
Iberg that this is like the first shitty day we've had in a little while,
Right.
except for the past couple of days. What brought you to Mammoth?
This is like my 4th year out here in a row now, for spring. I think the first one I did was just with a couple buddies. We just hit a road trip out here, and it was like all time. And I mean, I've always wanted to come. I mean, you see all the old level 1 shoots and all the video projects that have been filmed out here. I was like, fuck yeah, like let's hit Mammoth. And then, haven't stopped coming back since. Like, 4th year in a row, every spring. It's just too good not to come.
Dude, Mammoth in May is better than any summer camp.
Seriously.
You know, like to have the high-speed quad, to have no lines,
Yeah.
just have like, be like, why is this empty Monday through Friday?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. The lap time is absolutely insane here. So fast.
That was the highlight in life, was just doing that every single day. You're just like, man, can you? It's like having a tow rope on a mountain, and then the fact they put it at the base, and you don't even have to go up the mountain to get to the park. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I didn't tell you, but there is so much stuff going on right now. Like there's like there was Red Bull stuff going on. There's a half pipe camp going on.
All I know is skiing needs to fucking infiltrate or create its own quarter pipe world championships. Because every time I see the fucking snowboard quarter pipe world championship shit in the first week of May every year on the softest coping that you could land on in the nicest area, I'm just like, man, how fun would it be to watch a bunch of Simon Dumonts go to the moon?
It was sick. Yeah, I went to that the other day. It was awesome. Dopeness. So you want to give Luca a little rundown of what we're doing here?
Yes. So Luca, I got a chance to be on Ethan's podcast like 2 years ago, the Two Planker podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm 45 and he's 26 now. And so during that podcast, I was like, man, there's a lot of different shit going on with like the younger generation. I don't understand it. I don't have any friends that are that generation. I'm not in it. I'm not living on a couch every day. I'm not making movies. Yeah. So I go, you know what? Let's do a podcast, Old Head, New Head. And then we can meet the old guys, see how they created their own lane, why they're still in the sport, what they did that was unique and different, that gave them longevity. So it can be taught to the listeners. And then let's talk to all the young guys, because I don't get why they do what they do. You know, like what is your overall goal? The contest, movies? I don't know anymore. Creating companies. So I just thought it'd be a fun excuse for me to talk with my old friends, and then another excuse for me to meet a bunch of new people and see why they're so awesome. So that's why we do this. And I think it's just fun for listeners who love the sport, and they're probably pretty stoked on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you guys do. I've listened to so many already of the Old Head, New Head podcasts. We're traveling a lot, and it's such a great way to pass the time and learn new stories and, figure out cool things about the history of our skiing and, other people's perspectives and stuff. So, yeah, pretty honored to be on here with you guys. So, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, because time is more valuable than money. So I appreciate your time talking
No
skiing.
problem.
Yeah, this is gonna be sick. I think this was definitely like your breakout year in terms of like Iberg and I were just talking about it. Like we basically learned who you were this year, so this is a good opportunity to have you on and share who you are with everybody else. So we can start. We'll start right at the beginning, like we always start. We'll start from the early days, and then we'll work our way up to the present. So, where are you from? I know a little bit about your background, but we'll act like the audience doesn't know anything. Yeah,
Of
give us
course.
the all the early stuff.
Yeah, so I grew up in the small town of Wanaka, New Zealand. Um, Pretty fortunate enough to grow up and live in such a beautiful place in the world. I got on skis at around 3 years old. Both my parents are diehard skiers. My dad used to be a ex-professional mogul skier back in his day. Actually, also did some aerials and ballet skiing, which is pretty sick. Um, and same with my mom. Actually, she used to do mogul comps herself and is also just an absolute ripper of a skier. So yeah, they kind of gave me and my older brother Benny the passion and love for skiing, and yeah, never really looked back.
Sick.
Okay, so I have so many Wanaka questions right now because I got
Yeah.
lost. So one of the videos I found this morning was a funny local news thing from 3 years ago about what's in the water of Wanaka. And it was about the brothers, the Wells, and Porteous, if I'm saying that last name correct, and you and your brother. And so I got lost because I got the privilege of going to Wanaka once in my life, and then staying there for a whole month in August with Tanner, and then we went to a snow park every day, and
Sick.
it was the most wild place I've ever experienced for the fact that it was undeveloped, but almost seemed inaccessible to other New Zealanders unless you were from there originally, right? Like when I looked into it. So I'm curious, like, were your parents part of that generation that was part of it at the beginning where you could just be a ski culture? Because I don't think kids can just afford to move to Wanaka anymore.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that
So
correct?
what brought my parents down was my dad. After he finished competing, he was a mogul coach, and he would take teams down for summer training because it's New Zealand winters are American summers. So
Yeah.
he'd be taking his mogul teams down, and they used to just stay at this tiny little campground, and um, yeah, that's kind of what brought them down and started and made them fall in love with the place because it's incredibly beautiful there. Um,
Incredible.
and at the time, they were looking at buying in Tahoe, but they got like way outpriced, and yeah, ended up buying a big piece of land in New Zealand for dirt cheap.
That's awesome.
And yeah, back then there was no one in Wanaka. It was such a small town. But yeah, it's definitely grown a lot since then, and I'm pretty fortunate that they got in at the time that they did because God, we could never afford a place there now.
No, it just seems like it is. I mean, it's Lord of the Rings, Ethan. If you've never been there,
Never
like
been.
I would just get off the top of the chairlift at Snow Park and I would probably stand there for 10, 15 minutes and just look in circles. Like I'd want to ski down on the flattest area just so I could look around me and not look where I was going. I've
Right.
never skied anywhere else. And the piece of snow was the same size as a Minnesota ski hill. So it was an experience like, and then that piece of snow was only for cool tricks, you know,
Yeah,
stuff like that. So it was my experience of Wanaka, and then just being there is just like, man, like if you get to come from there, like man, what a blessing. 'Cause
right.
I don't think there's another place like that in the world that has that small, like can keep the population that small, just all the little things.
For sure. Yeah, very grateful. And I get to travel the world and I'm so fortunate to be able to do that. But you definitely, when you come home, you realize how special of a place Wanaka really is and how lucky I was
You
to grow up
live in
there.
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like buy yourself a globe and then just put the globe on your shelf and then only rotate it so you see your spot.
yeah.
And it's so nuts, dude. Like you just think about where you live. It's not really relatable to most of us ski people.
Not at all, yeah, but it's pretty cool.
So my next question is growing up now, if your parents are both super into it, they're running camps and you're getting on skis early, like are they developing you as like, okay, we're doing everything, ski school, race, whatever, or are they, because they're hardcore freestylers, like let's jump, let's do moguls, or how does it work at the beginning for you and your brother?
So moguls have never really been a thing in New Zealand. My dad kind of had the main role in moguls down in the South Island. But when I started skiing and getting older and stuff, the moguls weren't really around anymore.
And to
And
put this in perspective, 2007, you're only 3 years, or are you 3 years old then?
3 years old, yeah.
Hey, so yeah, so I'm thinking about it. When I went with Tanner, it was this August 2008,
Yeah.
right? So when you were 4, so I'm just trying to think, like the culture was so big, like all
Yeah.
the Wells brothers were already dope as shit.
Right.
So I think so. So did you have influence of these other young kids when you were a little guy right away?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not really at that age, but as I started to get older, those guys started to play a huge role in my inspiration and passion for the sport. But basically, my dad and mom taught me how to ski at this resort called Treble Cone, which is a full free ride natural terrain resort. Um,
Is Treble Cone the resort where your dad did the mogul camps? Because I think I
Yeah.
got brochures.
yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we learned how to ski there, and they were never really pushing us to get into freestyle or training. And my dad being a coach, he actually coached me up until I was like probably 14, 15 years old. But basically we would just ski as a family and would just shred treble cone all the time. And me being a little grom, searching for adrenaline and stuff, I'd hit every little side hit I could find, and try to catch air and send myself off of things. And that's when my dad was like, "All right, well, let's head over to Cadrona and get into like the park program and start hitting some jumps and some park and stuff like that." But also every
So was Snow Park closed by the time you hit that point?
Not quite.
Okay.
So every Friday after skiing, they would run the night skiing sessions up at Snow Park. Sorry, after school.
Yeah.
And so every Friday after school, they'd bring us up to the snow park. And, this is when I'm starting to get into freestyle and starting to learn these names. And you pull up to Snow Park after school, there's Jossie Wells, there's Simon Dumont, there's Tanner Hall. Like, it's incredible the amount of people I got to be around when I was growing up and getting into freestyle.
Yeah. Crazy.
And pretty bummed that Snow Park's not a thing anymore, but grateful for the days and times that I got there.
So do you get into competing right away? Is there contests in New Zealand at that time? Because they had NZ Open and everything at that time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that they definitely used to have more competitions than they do now. And then that they did when I was growing up. But I used to enter, like, they have this chocolate milk company that would sponsor this little competition. It's called the Calcium Cup, and it'd be on like the little baby park, and I'd always do that with a bunch of my buddies and stuff. And so yeah, my dad got me into competing like younger, and it was all just fun and games. And then we always had the junior nationals at the end of the year, and that was really cool because you could sign up for all disciplines. So they had a skier cross, they had a GS, they had a slopestyle, half pipe, and a big mountain.
Awesome.
And so yeah, it got us skiing all areas of skiing, all types of skiing, and creating more of an all-round skier rather than just a park skier or something. But yeah, that was always a huge highlight at the end of the season.
So when did you get into contests? How old were you?
I think I was like 5, 6 years old.
Okay.
We had like a photo from the local newspaper of me like in this baggy hoodie that was way too big for me, with my arms like in the air hitting the side of this like or airing over a little flat down box. And so yeah, I definitely got into competing at a young age.
So what was, since you're so young and then it's so accessible, when did you just, and then you saw people that were young, because this is the other crazy thing is when you see kids that are in their mid-teens or
Yeah.
young teens, like the Wells brothers, and they get free gear. Like, do you have a point where you're like, I want to do that shit too? Or is it still just fun and you're slowly climbing? Or
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really sure what age that would have started for me. But it was mainly my brother was a huge influence on my skiing because my brother started. He's 2 years older than me, and as he would start getting better, and he would start learning new tricks, it'd be like, damn, I want to do that now. Like I
dude, I
can't.
watched his pipe shit when he was 9 years old or something that your dad had on his YouTube. And he was
Yeah,
so little and it was full like 22-foot pipe, I think.
yeah,
And I was just looking at it. I'm like, yo, that's so gnarly. He's going up and over coping.
yeah,
So
right.
yeah. So I can see how an older brother would push you if he's dropping in that shit.
Oh, for sure. And but yeah, my dad actually he ended up starting to work for the freestyle program at Cadrona. So he was coaching me and a bunch of my friends from school for all of my like primary school or elementary school years into high school years. Um, and so yeah, I was lucky enough to just get to go and ski with my buddies like every weekend and have my dad coaching us. And I think that definitely added a lot of passion and fun to skiing for me.
So it looks so well, what's fun is like because it looks so slow, but you fucking I think your first World Cup was at 16 or 17. Am
Something
I
like
right?
that. Yeah.
And so I'm wondering because that's pretty awesome, right? Like you already did, I think you did junior worlds around then too, maybe a little older.
Yeah.
But so it's like when you get into that, is it just because you're developing, or have you not hit this phase before your first World Cup where you're like, fuck, I want to win? Or are you looking at movies at this point and being like, I want to film? Or what does a young person that has full access to everything that they can do in the world from camera guys and friends and coaches and train, like, what are you thinking as a little kid? Is there any goals yet?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was definitely influenced a lot of by competition skiing and being surrounded in an area where all the pros got to come down. So, when I was a kid, I would watch the NZ Open. I'd watch all the comps at Snow Park. They used to actually have a huge quarter pipe comp every year, a ski one.
I
And
remember because Armada built it and then O'Connell would do the photo shoot on. Okay, I remember this
yeah.
now.
So yeah, I mean that definitely, and then I was lucky enough to watch the Wells brothers grow up and watch them go from skiing my home local hill to watching them on the big stage over at X Games and over at doing the World Cup tour of their own, and I think that definitely gave me inspiration to want to win and to want to compete and stuff. Um, and when I was around 13, I think my dad brought us over. I guess no, I was a little older. Yeah, 14 maybe. We got to go to Breckenridge for the first time. And that's when Breckenridge was still pumping, That's when Dew Tour was still happening. And we were out there and, you'd see Bobby Brown, you'd see Nick Gepper, you'd see all the top dogs again. And, watching the Dew Tour and stuff like that. There's been so much inspiration towards the competition side. But another thing was my dad would always buy the latest ski films.
Okay.
And I would watch Every Day is a Saturday so many times, just on repeat. I think to this day it's still one of my favorite movies. In Deep was another really, really sick one for me.
So I think every day is Saturday is like 2009 or something, 10.
Yeah.
So Mike, do you remember, so that you're young, you're only 6. Do you remember in 2014 when you were 10 watching the Wells brothers on the Olympics?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because to me, that had to have been wild. Like if I was to watch 3 kids from my ski hill as a kid, I can't imagine that.
For sure.
So yeah, no, just
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. And I mean, I guess that was the first Olympics for freestyle skiing. And yeah, that was definitely like one of the sickest things ever. And it was like, damn, I want to be there someday. Like, I could be the same as Jossie, you know?
I got a quick question for you. Well, when you're growing up in New Zealand, how big does the world feel? Because I've heard an interview with some Australian athlete, and they said that it's hard to break out of like the Australian market. You know, like you could be big within your country, but it's hard to be big globally when you're from that part of the world. So, growing up in New Zealand, especially a small town, did the world feel small, or did you see everything that was out there just because everyone would come to your mountain in the off season? And like what was your exposure like to just like the global world, like the global ski world?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was lucky enough because I guess Wanaka and, Cadrona and Snowpark were such a hub for freestyle that, I did get to see everyone, all the best from around the world to come down. And that definitely gave me a lot of exposure to that. But, I mean, living in Wanaka still makes the world seem so big. And I feel like I was so sheltered to a lot of stuff growing up because it's such like a very peaceful country. We don't have a lot of like bad stuff happening there, but that's because we're such a small company and country, and we have a lot of good people there too.
Yeah.
Something that's unfair for him though, Ethan, is imagine in 2012, Jossie Wells is full international atomic team. Jossie Wells is full international Oakley team, meaning they're paid from the US and stuff and Europe. Jossie Wells has a commercial with Nike with the RZA. So when you see someone that's your friend or skis beside you, like that's all touchable now.
Yeah.
Maybe that guy in Australia didn't see all these access, but what Jossie was bigger than people in North America and Europe. Like it was crazy how big he was. He was stylish. He had his own personality, like had a cross on his helmet. Like everything about him was, I don't know. I just think if I saw that and that was my friend as a kid, everything would seem realistic then. Your friends might think the world's big, but your friend just went to Aspen for the weekend.
Yeah.
Like that's nuts.
That is nuts.
I'm from Minnesota, and I didn't even have friends like that.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Like even Connecticut, like something like, the X Games seemed like it was worlds away. And then in New Zealand, you're pretty much as far as you can get, but you're still like, oh yeah, I know people that go there all the time.
Yeah. Everyone comes to you every August and September, and then they live in your town. Like Tanner and I ate naan and buttered chicken every fucking night at one spot for 31 straight days. Every 31 straight days, we were waxing our skis in a ski shop. With 31 straight days, we were partying every night in a club. That was just me and him. And now there's 100 more people like me and him. There's Sammy, Yoon Olsen.
Yeah.
Barlow's fucking a 14-year-old on rollerblades, homeless, going around your town.
Sick.
Yeah, that curry spot's still there.
Fucking 30 straight days, dude. I had a little breakdown, but Tanner was okay with it.
Nice.
That's sick. And Luca, just still on that same thought. So like, what was the like in terms of outside of ski stuff? Like, what media would you guys consume? Would you be listening to American artists, watching American shows and movies, or is there like a New Zealand TV market that we don't really know about?
Yeah, there was definitely like a New Zealand TV market, I'd say, because I mean, growing up, we didn't really watch a lot of TV. My parents didn't let us have like an Xbox, didn't let us have computer games or anything like that. And we had a TV that had 3 channels. And then I think channel 2 on Saturdays would have like some cartoons. But yeah, it was like eye-opening going to the States for the first time and seeing all the other shows and stuff.
We got about 5 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
and you can watch
But yeah,
something new every second.
we were definitely pretty sheltered to the whole electronic side of the world, but I'm pretty grateful for that because I got into doing a lot of other stuff as a kid instead of, gaming and watching TV. And I didn't have a phone for the longest time, honestly.
Wow. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, we've never talked to someone from New Zealand before, so it's cool to get the little cultural flavor. But I didn't even know that Iberg had gone there. So
Right?
so what do I know?
Big up Jason Wolf, the dopest
Yeah,
dude
dude.
in Wanaka.
I was going to bring that up because he's got a crazy collection just like the one behind you.
Yeah, no, he lived with Tanner and me in Utah for a year and a half and helped make everything and inspired happen. And none of it would have happened without him.
Yeah.
And he's one of the most amazing human beings in the whole entire world. I'll know anybody listening to this. So big up yourself, Jason, little Jace, getting
Big
shorter
up.
by the day.
Sick. So we'll get back on track. So where we left off with kind of around 16 years old.
I want to know who your favorite skier was as a kid. Like, did you have one that you idolized or thought was like really awesome, or was everything just normal to you?
No, I mean there were so many, man. It's hard to put down to one. Honestly, a big inspiration of mine was Nick Gepper at the time, as my dad knows Mike Hanley really well, his coach at the time, and
Yeah.
and Gus Kenworthy too. And so what happened was they got to come out to my house for like dinner a couple of times, and Nick Gepper gave me and my brother one of his signed skis with the Vocal and the Red Bull logo. And I think, that moment was like, damn, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, he's so cool.
That's all.
So that was definitely.
This is after they won their medals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is after, a lot of success. And so that was definitely huge. But, I mean, I got to put it down to all three of the brothers in Wanaka at the time. The Finn Billis, the Hank Billis, the Porteous brothers, Nico and Miguel, and then, of course, all of the Wells brothers. Like, they were definitely the biggest inspirations for me. Being able to grow up in the same town, watching them ski, watching their careers just explode, and all the success that they got. There's nothing really like that, and I'm so grateful I got to grow up in the same town as them.
It's crazy, man. I don't know if there's another town.
Right?
Like if I go like Quebec, I always bug out on because I'm like, how? How is there so much? But Quebec's a big province, man. It might be bigger than New Zealand. And as far as land space. But yeah, it's crazy. Maybe Wanaka is the most focused place of dominance.
Well, it's just weird that there's all these brothers.
Yeah, that's weird too.
Are there any dope lady skiers out of Wanaka?
Yeah, we have Ruby Andrews.
She's from there too. Damn.
Yeah. Well, so technically she's from Queenstown, which is like 45 minutes over the hill.
Yeah.
But she's been living in Wanaka for the past few years.
Where's Tori from? Do you remember this girl?
Yeah, she's from Wanaka.
What was her last name? Is her last name?
Tori Beatty?
I think so. She used to be on Armada.
Yeah. Tori
Awesome
Beatty.
human. Big up Tori.
She's still in the whole ski industry. She's doing a lot of judging. She's judged a ton of my comps in just Wanaka, and then I've seen her at a few of the World Cups over the past few years too. So she's still kicking it and still part of the industry, which is sick.
Yeah, but she was just an awesome human. That's all I remember.
Yeah. But then not a skier, but we have Zoe Sinnott.
Okay. She's a Wanaka girl.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I was just talking to her. Like I said, my favorite thing about X Games this year was women's snowboard big air. I've never seen so much style with high degree of difficulty in my life.
Insane.
Uh,
But yeah, Zoe is just an incredible human and an incredible snowboarder, and has definitely changed snowboarding for sure. Women's snowboarding and men's snowboarding.
yeah.
True.
So, Luca, we talked to a lot of American skiers that come up through, there's like all these feeder feeder organizations that we have here that are expensive. And we were just talking to Caleb Godwin, and he did not have positive things to say about the experience of all the money you spend to get to these competitions, and you get to nationals, and you hardly get any respect. What's the scene like in New Zealand? Is it full of kind of those same issues?
I mean, definitely. Again, I'm lucky enough that all the competitions and stuff were at my home resort. But yeah, it wasn't. We never really had the USASA Nationals. We didn't have to travel. Like, I've never actually skied in the North Island aside from the indoor snow dome up there. So, that part of competition and travel and stuff like that was pretty easy for me. The furthest would be over to Queenstown to the Remarkables to do one of their competitions. But yeah, I mean, definitely then you get into wanting to go overseas and train overseas in our summers and start competing over there and trying to do their nationals and getting into the Rev Tour scene and stuff. And yeah, I mean, being from New Zealand, that's a long way and a big flight and a lot of money. And it's always been a struggle, and it still is.
So did you come up by doing U.S. competitions or North America competitions?
No,
Like
I started to after a while. The first few years of going overseas was more just to ski, to train, to have fun. My dad would take me, my brother, and then a couple others from my hometown over to go and ski Breckenridge for a couple of weeks. And then I guess around 15 or so, I started doing a couple of the U.S. national, or no, what are they called? The USASAs events. And then I guess once I switched to kind of being on the New Zealand national development team is when I started doing a few of the Rev Tours.
So I'm curious on your path to where you got. So you're doing contests, and does the national team development team help support you go to North America at all, or do you climb through the development team to get to your next step? Or how does support work in your country? Do you have to go get private sponsors, or does a national team help you move around?
So, we do get a bit of help through the national team. It's hard in our market of New Zealand because our economy is very small and there's not a lot of funding, but we are very lucky to get government funding to help towards our sport. But
every plane ticket you have to a contest is $2,000.
Yeah, right.
That's what, and that's your basic, okay. And then if you look at a schedule, I'm just like, holy cow. Because I mean, that's the only reason I've went to your country once was the most expensive plane ticket up there.
For sure. And I mean, I was very lucky that my parents were so supportive of me. And, they put a lot of work. They worked so hard, and they helped me, for my first few years traveling to pay for it for me. And then it was always my biggest goal to be able to pay them back, or just to even be able to pay for myself to do what I love. But yeah, I literally cannot thank them enough for all the amounts of money that they've dumped into skiing for me. And I'm hoping to someday be able to pay them back for all of that. But yeah, once you're on the national team, I think the development team, they gave you a little bit. They tried to get you over to a couple of the comps and stuff. You wouldn't get a ton of funding, but they do what they can. And then now we have a few different ranks of the team, and dependent on your rank is dependent on the funding that you can get. And basically, I'm still, this year, I'm still paying the team a fair bit of money. So they basically try to contribute as much as they can, and then we have to contribute, the rest of it to make it work, because it is a lot of money to travel full time. And
so if you're on a national team, and I'm looking at you as a guy who's coming up as a competitive skier on a national team, how do you go about getting a sponsor? Did someone come to you at a young age, or does the national team bring options to you? Or how do sponsors come into your life? And when was your first sponsor?
It's definitely a very individual thing. It's very different to the U.S. team. You know, U.S. team has a lot of outside sponsors that sponsor the team, and like private funders and stuff. But with New Zealand, we didn't have any of that. Like, we don't have any team uniform or anything, or any outside sponsors helping to give into the pool to help us, get across the world and stuff. So it was definitely more of a private thing for us. My dad was really close with the Vocal New Zealand rep through Moguls.
Yeah.
And through Wanaka, and being one of the few small ski bums that were there in the early or the late 90s. And they sponsored my brother at a very young age. Just gave him a pair of skis, got him hyped up. And then after a few years, my parents, they got me to learn how to email someone to write up like a little resume and stuff like that. So Vocal was my first sponsor as well. And it wouldn't be much. It'd be, I think at first it was like 50% off a pair of skis or something. And then we started going into like a couple of small like local companies. Like Icebreaker was one of my first sponsors when they were first kind of starting up in the whole winter industry, I guess.
Here's my question. So you 15, 16, you go on a World Cup tour. Are you paying 50% of your product while you're going to places?
No, so at that time I was up on a higher level or whatever with Vocal, and they were giving me, I think, 2 pairs of skis.
Okay.
At the time. And this is when we start, starting to break skis, and my parents are getting pissed.
Man, but your dad has to be able to relate, because this shit sounds like fucking Moguls in the 90s where you're like, I'm sponsored, I get 2 pairs of skis.
Yeah, right.
That's why I'm so interested right now, because like you're doing so much for the sport at this point. And representing, like, you're traveling the world to represent someone for 2 pairs of skis and a nation.
Well, no, actually, at that point, I wasn't full-time traveling. I think my first World Cup was actually a half-pipe World Cup.
It was. And I want to get into your half-pipe to not half-pipe transition.
Yeah, right. But yeah, at that time, we weren't traveling full-time. It was like going over for a couple of weeks, doing a couple of comps, and that was kind of it. I think my first full year doing a full circuit was at 17, I think it was.
And at 17, what do you have for free gear, and does anyone pay you?
Still no money. I think maybe I was just then starting to switch to Vocal International.
Okay.
So that was getting more skis, and then I had Smith Optics give me goggles and helmets. But that was kind of it, honestly.
Okay.
I was riding for Saga for a little bit.
They're not around anymore, are they?
That's great. How'd you get linked up with Saga?
So the guys that imported Smith into New Zealand also had a connection with Saga, and that's kind of how I got connected with that one, which was pretty sick.
That's so insane that you were a Saga rider for a little bit.
Yeah, for a few years, yeah.
So who was the first person to ever pay you? Company to be a skier?
Dang, I think Monster Army, really.
What? I didn't even know Monster Army pays. That's fucking awesome.
I thought they just gave out helmets, or sticker
Or
helmets.
the sticker that you get.
Right? That's what it seems like.
So I'm curious on this one. This is fucking awesome. This shows that the outside of the industry cares more about you. How does this work? How old are you? Did you win something? Do you know someone? Like, how does Monster Army work and give you money when no one else does?
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing about being from New Zealand is, like, the market of New Zealand is so small, and going through like if you're going through vocal New Zealand, like they don't have big bucks to be able to just hand out to you. You know,
Yep.
they were being very nice and gracious to give us skis and to try to give us as much as they could, skis and boots wise. So yeah, once the money's more like outside, like over in the States, that's where
Yeah, totally understand. But it's super interesting because, like, to even me, I'd be like, I'd love to just go nuts on the topic, but like, your best way is to be sponsored by a distributor, not a fucking company, right? And if you work with that distributor, then you say that's my company, and that's probably how you get paid.
I don't actually think I've had any. Yeah, I haven't had any paying sponsors out of New Zealand. It's always going through the U.S. side or the international side.
So how does Monster Army happen in life for a New Zealand kid?
So I think at that time I had done. What have I done? I'd done like 4 or 5 rev tours that I'd started to podium at. I had 1 win and then a couple seconds and thirds. And so this is kind of when I'm starting to break through onto the competition side of things in an international perspective. And my brother had just signed onto the Monster Army. And, you know, at the time it was that exact thing. It's like, oh, these guys just get stickers, like, blah, 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 kind of has a bad rep. But after meeting the guy, sitting down, having a conversation, and he was down to offer me a number, and I was just, like, shocked.
So is this all Josh Bishop, or does he have someone that finds people for Monster Army?
No, so there's Monster Army's a full separate deal. Christopher Stumbles is his name, and he has been running motocross, snowboard, ski, skate, whole thing, surf, everything for Monster Army. And technically, like, it is under the same company, but it's separate.
Dude, that's dope. It's like having a minor league, you know, and then they actually like communicate who's good in the minors, you know.
For sure. And yeah, when I saw that number, I was like, wow, this is insane. This is going to change my life. And so, yeah, I signed that deal with them, and that was, game changing and life changing for me and my family, because my parents, you know, they'd still be having to pay a little bit, but that would like cover a lot of my season, which was huge. And then at this time, I'm getting I'm free gear. I'm not needing to worry about paying for any gear. But yeah, Monster Army has literally been the biggest thing in my ski career. They've helped me so much, and I'm extremely grateful for that.
I'm going to say big up to, I didn't even know that program existed, like how it was structured. But man, if you look at what they did now on people they found, like say even like, maybe I'm wrong, T-Pod, is that the kid?
Yeah.
Like even to find him and put him on Monster Army as a minor.
Yeah.
Like a minor league guy, and just be like, yo, you're almost there. It like gives you guys so much confidence.
Noah Wallace was also on Monster Army.
Yep. I remember that.
Noah Wallace and Alex Hall, actually, before he was with Rockstar, was on Monster Army.
So, yeah, I'd say that's a dope program, man.
But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bad rep around Monster Army, and a lot of people talk about it bad and stuff. But if you look at the bigger picture and you see what they do, like, all these kids that are getting, you know, have the little stickers and whatever on their helmet, the program for them is called Paid to Podium. And basically, when they're podiuming at these little USASA national events and stuff like that, if you get on the podium, Monster Army gives you a little bonus. You get like $100.
Okay.
You know, $100 when you're a little kid is like, that's sick, you know?
Yeah.
And so basically, they also have tiers, and you rank up. And as you start to rank up, like, I forget what the ranking is, where you start to get a contract. But basically, yeah, then they start paying you a contract with a salary as well as the paid to podium.
So I really like that, because then the sticker makes it separates it, because say a Red Bull helmet doesn't mean as what it used to, right?
Right.
You used to see a Red Bull helmet, it only meant a winner.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't mean that anymore, the last 10 years. And so it's confusing how they structure it. But now that you explain what I visually seen the last decade of Monster Army, it makes perfect sense because the connections you're getting, you're on their radar, they want to support you. Like whatever, even if it's just sending cases of fucking Monster. You can sell that shit, you can drink it, whatever.
So yeah, it's basically it's a program to help support athletes to get to the next level. And they kind of want to make it seem like a stepping stone to reach the energy, which is really cool. But again, they have to keep the energy like that high status too. But yeah, they've done so much for me and have done so much for so many people out there. And yeah, really, really an awesome program that they've got going there.
Did you ever film? Like when you're doing all these contests, did you ever get into the film element with your brother or friends and make edits or anything? Or be in edits or movies?
Not movies and stuff like that, but definitely I'd always make a season edit every year, all my top clips. And then that's what you'd use to send off to the sponsors for the next year and be like, hey guys, this is me. This is what I do. And it'd be kind of like part of the resume.
Who would shoot all your stuff?
Just my dad. It'd just be,
Awesome.
we had an old GoPro at the time, like a Hero 3 Plus or something, and we used that thing for so long.
And then were you editor?
Yeah, I would edit them all myself, learn how to use iMovie.
Awesome.
That was like the stock program on the computer we had.
What about the music? Iberg was pulling some stuff deep out of the archives today.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Just so you know, I got all stoked on it because I was like, dude, you're like 10. My daughter's 11. I can't imagine her singing in front of a crowd like this, man. I just thought it was awesome as a father.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, big up yourself. You are already fucking confident enough to be in front of a crowd as a youth. So
dude,
that's a huge step.
I'm actually pretty blown away that you found that video. That thing.
Well, give thanks to me thinking your dad was Tony Harrington. And then I got lost. I'm like, Tony Harrington's from Australia. And then I was like, that can't be him. And then I was like, well, Greg Harrington. And then I was like, YouTube. And then I put in Greg Harrington Moguls. And then I'm like, he got a channel. Daddies always fucking make edits of their kids when they're little. Bam. And then I found all your shit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That was awesome. Dude, that's some good intel on the Monster Army, because obviously I have that same opinion. Especially here at Mammoth, it's like you go on the lift line. It's like, dude, is everyone on Monster Army? Like, what's going on? Yeah. Like the whole
it's crazy. Line. There's definitely a lot of Monster Army logos out there these days. But yeah, I'm not sure what everyone's level is. I'm not sure what everyone's getting out of Monster Army, but that's kind of how it all works.
Oh, but it is cool to think of it as like the minor leagues. It's like, yeah, you work your way. You work your way through the farm league, and then hopefully you get moved up to the majors. You're on the full monster team now? No.
Yeah, just recently that happened.
Sick. So congratulations. Congrats. And so how does that transition happen? Does it take a big win? Does it take consistency? Like where? Because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of Monster Army kids listening to this right now, wondering how to get to the next level. So maybe you could talk about your route and some other people's routes that you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's been kind of a blur for me, and a bit of a confusion. I wasn't really sure what was needed to move up to energy. And it's funny, I sent an email to Josh Bishop in October this year, or October last year, just being like, hey man, look, my Monster Army contract's about to be finished up here. I just want to know, like, what do I need to do? What is it? What's the next step to take to make it onto the energy team? And there's definitely a few different cases of upgrading to Monster Energy. And I've noticed Bishops has told me that a lot of their I guess what's the word for it? But anyways, a lot of things these days is to do with filming. So if you're making a big significant film project for the industry, then Monster's really into supporting that. And so that's
and you can see that crystal clear, all the stuff that like Brady's putting out with individual athletes at the high level. So that's just to relate for what you're saying if kids are searching.
Yeah, for sure. And so yeah, a lot of recent guys have been picked up as film skiers, and I think that's really cool. I think we got quite lost for a while in the competition side of skiing, and there's been less film projects being put out of, and there's so many amazing skiers out there that don't get the chance to be competition skiers. And I think this is a really sick way to be able to support another aspect of skiing and to show the amount of talent that's out there outside of competition skiing. But basically, that's a big one. He's like, yeah, if you're making a significant film project, like that's definitely a way to get onto the energy. But also, he's like, to me, he's like, yeah, we're looking for a couple more higher level wins or podiums. And at that time, I had just gotten my first World Cup podium in Silva Plana. I got a third place, and I was like, all right, I'm on my way. Like, maybe we can make this.
Was that first World Cup podium last fall or last spring?
Last spring.
Okay, so spring of 24.
Well, yeah, just before spring. It was March.
Yeah. So I was curious because I went through your World Cup stats or whatever, and I was like, fuck, you've done all of this shit in the last 12 months?
Yeah, so
pretty dope.
Yeah, it's been crazy. But yeah, basically, I was like, all right, sweet. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I just need to start podiuming. And this wasn't like my biggest thing I was focusing on. I'm always just focusing on me as a person and as a skier. And yeah, so
I would like to note here, though, with someone at your level, someone that you work with just help give you goals. You know what I mean? They wrote a goal down on paper with you, and now you actually see what a goal can get.
For sure.
So just to put that in perspective, because I think it's interesting, you never thought about winning before. But then when someone actually said you can win, and if you win, you can potentially get this. I don't know, it's a big confidence boost to get an email back from a guy like Josh Bishop, to get an email back from a guy like Josh Bishop with some things you could do.
For sure.
But sorry to hijack.
No, absolutely. Awesome. And I mean, of course that fire was always burning in the back of my head, but honestly, like this year I was going into the season, I wasn't expecting to be winning. I was like, as much as I did want to win.
One more thing, like let's put in perspective. You just won your first World Cup Big Air in spring of 2024. What was your paycheck?
That was a slope style and I got in third. Okay.
So what did you get there?
What was the prize money? The prize money was like 3,750 Swiss francs.
So like your plane ticket and maybe some food.
And then you take in 30% on tax. And it was like not that much money.
So point being is, before that message from Bishop, winning doesn't really mean that much. You know, like even if you do it, like you're not climbing out of the hole, you're still digging a hole because now you feel successful and you need to go pay more money.
Yeah, right.
So that's another cool reason what Bishop wrote to you, because at a high level that you're at, like I can see how it's so defeating. Even if you're third place, which means you're still the illest in the world, but third place meant so much different the first 15 years of the sport.
Yeah.
You know, like than it means in World Cups nowadays.
Big time.
So sorry to hijack again, but just wanted to put it in perspective that podiums and wins don't mean much, and it's connection, conversation.
For sure. But again, like another thing about me and skiing is I've never done this for the money, you know? I do it because I love skiing with all my heart, and that's the only thing I ever want to do, and that's why I ski every single day, and that's why I'm still out here. After a long season, I'm still out here in Mammoth because I just love it, and it's such a great time.
It'd be so weird if you did what you did and you could die every day and you tried to get money. That'd be so unfun.
But yeah, basically, that's kind of how I went into the season. The main goal this year was like, I need to get a few good results. New Zealand team had set out like a kind of a rough estimate of what I needed to get to qualify for this next Olympics. And my goal was to be like, I'm going to go out swinging. I'm going to try to get some, some finals, some, top fives, top sixes would be sick. And then get qualified for the Olympics.
Are you going into the season as a big air and slope style skier? Do you have the same goals in both of these elements of the sport?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, we can definitely get into the whole big air, the separation between the two later.
Because I find it amazing, anyone that can do both.
Yeah, right. It's well, these days it's
That's what I'm saying. These days.
And there's definitely a few guys that are starting to seem to specialize in one more than the other.
Yeah. So sorry, I just wanted to ask you again because I wanted to see what your mental prep was before a season, and especially at this time period, I find it very interesting because I deal with Henrik a lot. What the prep is between slopestyle and big air, and we talk about the differences of mentality and all this stuff. He's 34.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're 21. So when said and done, I'm guessing your mentality is a little different as far as how you approach stuff and look at it. So you're going into the season with the goal of just getting some podiums because you know that can have some goals as well, and it's fucking great to be a good performer.
Also, I want to ask really, so like, what's like the whole landscape before going into this season? Like, were you already on the full New Zealand national team, not just like the development team anymore? Like, where did you stand with all these different parties? Because I feel like probably a lot of stuff changed throughout this season.
Yeah. So basically, I wasn't quite. They have 3 levels now for the New Zealand team. They have the high performance development, which is like the national development team, and then they got your. Then you move to the elite tier, and these tiers depend on how much money you get. So I've been on the elite tier, and then the next tier up was elite podium, and that was Nico Porteous and Zoe Sinnott. And basically, elite, they still they help fund you as much as they can, but like we just don't get that much money, and half of our money goes to the conversion rate these days because the New Zealand dollar is so weak. So
so one skier, one snowboarder, as much support as possible.
Pretty much, they're getting like most of their shit covered. And then it kind of the money kind of runs down from there.
I have a quick random question, but I'm guessing Zoe's taken care of in snowboarding because snowboarding takes care of athletes as individual sponsors. But is Nico anywhere close to what Zoe is?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. I just know nothing about Nico except his results, and I've seen his name at the top for a long time. And so, but then it's a half pipe, and so I know what half pipe skiers in the world get paid. And so then I'm thinking, oh man, he's from New Zealand. It's got to be 800 times worse. Yeah. And then I'm interested when you just put his name beside Zoe, and I think of Zoe as this like, I don't know. I put her at the top level of all winter sport.
For sure.
And Nico, I haven't even thought of that. No offense to him. I think you're the shit, Nico. I'm a super fan.
But yeah, they're our top dogs for New Zealand. And actually, how a lot of our funding works is based off of Olympic results. So them both winning the past Olympics helped New Zealand snow sports get a bit more government funding.
Awesome.
So we are very grateful for them. But yeah, at this point, I'm still paying a fair bit of money towards the New Zealand team. And that's what it is. And I'm just glad I get to do what I do. But yeah, that's kind of that. And I'm getting paid at this point I just signed a contract with Vocal.
Nice.
And still the Monster Army gig.
How's clothing in ski kids' lives nowadays?
Is
it a hard thing to get?
Yeah, it's strange how much it's changed. Um, I was riding for North Face for a little bit. They weren't giving me any money, but they were hooking me up with some gear and stuff. But I mean, these days there's not like a lot of big freestyle outerwear companies, and that's now the big ones are Capiche and Harlow Apparel. And then Gibberish has stepped in, and there's just a lot of like very small, pant companies and outerwear companies. But the main one, I guess Oakley is still running full outerwear.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Didn't know
Yeah.
that. I got no. Who's on Oakley outerwear?
Um, we
That
got
one guy.
Colby Stevenson is
Him.
one of their big dogs. Who else is riding? I'm not sure who's really on contract. I know Mathilde Grimaud from Switzerland is riding for them. A few of the Swiss guys are on full Oakley deals.
It ain't like it once was, Iberg.
No,
Yeah.
I think Kobe's the only one that and even me, I wasn't like Kobe. But
Yeah.
then, like, you know what I mean? Where it's just like they have a product, but it's not like for our sport at all.
Yeah,
They just made it up.
outerwear's fallen off pretty bad. Like Spider had their chance with all the guys that ended up making Capiche, and they blew it. So there's like really nothing going on right now.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah, it is crazy. But I mean, a lot of these small brands and kids that are getting inspired to make gear have been making some really cool stuff, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah. So we got
It's interesting though because it only helps them, right? So the kid that makes like a small pant and then sells 200 pair, he can make $20,000 and he's killing it. He's like whatever, but it doesn't
grow the sport. Yeah.
No, because it's dope. Like, everyone has their own individual style, and it was a cheap enough pair of pants for 150 to 200 US bucks, and that kid banked my parents' salary in a year by selling 200 pairs of pants.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to see because these are the kids that are doing the most for the product of the sport, and like they're making every kid be an individual on the hill, but at the same time, you're like, how do you actually do a capiche and make it functionable and support as many?
Yeah.
I guess Burke Root actually just has dropped his own outerwear line as well. Just
What is it, Brewski or Brushy?
Busy
Okay.
USI.
So,
I'm just a fan of him because I saw him get like a fucking gold Cuban link chain to put on his Olympic medal, and I'm like, you so ill. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Like, how does no one put that? Like, everything's so ghetto. Like, just get a $10,000 chain, put it on your like tarnished medal.
Yeah. Right.
sick.
Awesome.
So I want to do. So now we got the landscape of what your sponsors were like going into the season. Let's do. I think the biggest story of your season is X Games, but if there's something bigger, we could do the road to that.
I got something bigger after X Games.
Yeah, I want to do the road to X Games because that was so sick. Like, just the whole story is gnarly. So,
and to watch your results, just going through the fifth site and then seeing, like, I just would go through event and then I'd just look for World Cup and see results. So to see where you went, right, to scroll through your whole history and to see you kind of slowly always go, but then just kaboom. So if you were to make a graph of your results, like the last year is not normal for your projection the previous 4 years.
For sure. I mean, I guess I'll start at Stubai. That was our first comp of the year. So this is in November. We had a cross from New Zealand. We had just finished up our spring skiing in New Zealand. And we go across and they have this big camp called Prime Parks. It's like the only slope style / big air camp that they do for skiing and snowboarding. There's a few other like half pipe camps they do, one in Kitstein-Horn, one in Mammoth every year. They have like smaller camps in Calgary and stuff like that. But yeah, we have this one camp and it's hard to get into and everyone wants to do it. Like we booked like a year in advance to go to this because it's just like, it's all time training. And basically also over there, they have an airbag, banger park. And that's like the only time of year we get to go and hit an airbag. So we go for like a couple of days and give a couple of days to try a couple new tricks. And then we go and put them down on on the perfect Prime Park jump.
Are you an airbag fan?
Honestly, like, there's so much debate and
For your personal, no debate. I'm curious, you personally, do you like hitting them? Do you find it fun? Do you feel it unsafe? Because it's so rare now. It's more rare than a water ramp jump in this world. So very few people have this opportunity. And so I'm super curious what your opinion is on this kind of surface that you take off and land and what it actually brings to you. So do you like it as a training form?
I have a love-hate relationship with it. We had one at Cadrona set up on snow for a couple of years, but it was pretty bad. But yeah, my brother blew his knee on the airbag, and that was definitely put me off for a while. It's like, yeah, this is meant to be safe. This is meant to be good. And my brother goes and blows his knee on the safe training facility.
And when was that?
Ooh, when was that? That was 2018, 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a big impact on me. And then like I tore my volar plate, like this thing in here, on an airbag once. Like one of my first times hitting it by just landing and sticking, and it ripped my thumb out. And so I was like, damn, this thing hurts more than on snow, honestly.
Word up, dude. Rollerblades into foam pits. Go ahead.
But it's changed a lot now. Like the setup they have over in Banger Park in Austria is like pretty insane. They have, it's all watered and stuff. It's always slippery. It's good. And to be able to compete these days, dude, you need to use them. Like, you need to be trying new shit, and the new shit and the crazy stuff and tricks that people are doing these days, like, it's not something that you're just like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go, like, whatever.
Do you think it's something you have to use to be a high level slope style skier as well as big air?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. No, it looks like it, because it's just like a tamed big air slope style, right? And you have to do 3 big airs in a fucking row.
And I think at the level that we are at, like the top level, it's really good. And it's pushing our sport, and it's creating so much more progression. But the problem is the younger generation getting to use these airbags. They haven't learned the fundamentals. They haven't gone all 4 sevens, all 4 sevens with different grabs, then go to 9s. They're like, oh, I learned how to 360. Let me send a dub 10.
But even the access, right? So say you are a youth that finally can afford it. Then if you are good, you have a good coach, then you can afford a good coach.
Yeah.
Then if you are good, you have all this. So like the only problem I see is because just how a water ramp only allowed me to do a single backflip if I spent thousands of dollars in the summer and thousands in the winter to do a single backflip. It's almost as gnarly as that now, because it's like, where do you go to get to the next level? You can do it on film and on rails and stuff like that, but the slope style, and it's just like half pipe.
Yeah.
Like where do you train a 22-foot pipe? But it's just interesting because you watch it separate so much, where none of these, maybe 80-90% of kids on twin tips can't access what you're doing now. So they're going to have to create something new. So I'm excited for that. But it's kind of a bummer to watch it become so exclusive. Yeah. But understandable.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the one thing I haven't been liking about airbags, is just watching this next generation. Like, they haven't learned air awareness yet. They're getting confident on just sending triples, doubles, and like, if they fall, there's an airbag there. When I was growing up and learning my first doubles, it's like, there's consequences, and you need to know what to do if you're about to bail. And I think that part of airbags in more of the younger generation side isn't necessarily a good effect on our sport. But for what we're doing, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. No, I think the craziest thing in relation was maybe your dad will understand this when I say, but like when the Chinese came into inverted aerials, so they were all divers and gymnasts that were abandoned because they sucked by second grade, and they go, okay, your third chance in life and sport in our country is aerials. So they moved all these people, and then America did it too with gymnast programs, where they brought in all the gymnasts that were university level failures in their sport, and they're like, oh, come to our facilities and learn full. And so all the people now that are doing aerials can't ski. They can go straight in and straight out of the jump, all good. Out of the, and the transition is the hardest thing in the bottom for them nowadays. But to watch that happen in a sport where you're like, wow, the best in the world can't ski, is it's just kind of a fun side story, because I always look at aerials as big air now, and so it's going to evolve the same way, where it has to peak at a certain point for safety. You know, if someone gets paralyzed at the Olympic stage doing a quad, there's going to be new insurance policies like 1982.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was going to actually bring that up. It's funny, you can really tell these days someone that knows how to ski versus someone that just goes straight into the jump and does a trick.
Well, it's all muscle memory, right? So when they go with their coach to the bag, they're like, okay, today we're going to do at least 10 of these tricks that you're going to compete once this fall.
Yeah.
And so I watched it on the water ramps. A good example was the girl who won slopestyle 2014 in Olympics. I watched her for 6 previous years in the water ramps, only train cork 720 reverse tail. Yeah. I watched her for 7 years train the exact tricks she did in the Olympics in 2014 to win, and then she retired the next year.
Yeah,
because there wasn't skiing, there was just to get that gold and train, and
exactly,
it's kind of a bummer. But sorry to take, that was a fun tangent. Airbag, I wanted to talk to you about that, because I only talk to Airbag about with old people.
You're good.
I want to add something onto this really quick. I was riding with a lot of kids my age are coaches now, late 20s. You start coaching, and they said they all repeat the same thing. All the kids these days, we're talking like, teenagers, they all think that if you can't dub 10, you suck.
Yeah.
That's it. Bar none. It doesn't matter if you got everything, every direction up until that point. If you can't dub 10, you suck. So it makes sense that what you were saying, Luca, like, all right, I just learned a 7, I'm going dub 10 on an airbag.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I worked a lot on trampolines as a kid. Like, I was a big trampoline kid. And we were lucky enough to have one of the super tramps right in Wanaka. And at the time of the super tramp being around, we had Mike Hanley working for the New Zealand team. And so he taught me so many of my fundamentals. And I would be working on the tramp, would do tramp sessions like, every couple of days. And, he'd get me to learn my right dub 10, land my right dub 10. And he's like, sweet. All right, now do it to the left. And it would be like, all right, we're warming up. We're going through 045s, 047s, 049s, and then we'll start getting into some doubles. And so what he taught me was like all the ground foundation. And I'm so grateful for that, because, once you have it to the right, you learn it straight to the left. You get the air awareness. You figure out where you are in the air. And that base level is how you learn how to move to the next step. You learn the 14, you work on that 14, then you know how to take the next step to the 16. And that. I
want to take a minute to big up Mike Hanley here. So yeah. I want to understand how lucky Luca is in this scenario. Mike Hanley's been around. He was at the Alpine Meadows program in the early 2000s. He was Sean Field's coach, and Sean Field got second in the 2004 U.S. Open, and he boosted the whole pipe with only 3 hits. It was fucking epic. And then he went over to New Zealand, did his thing, helped people like you. And I think even before he was at Wendell's, and then he went to Wendell's, changed their program over to boarding school, and turned all the areas that we used to smoke in the winter and go ski and stuff that were just summer camp lodges. He changed it to all boarding school for kids so they could go do tricks. So this created like the Geppers and shit. And then he's in New Zealand teaching Luca all the normal shit that you're supposed to learn as a ski kid. So I'm just saying how privileged Luca was. to have this random fucking Mike Hanley be over in New Zealand teaching basics.
Yeah, and it's funny. He's like a wizard when it comes to all the fundamental stuff. Like he really thinks outside of the box, and yeah, I'm so grateful for all the time that I spent with him. Big ups.
Yeah, just wanted to give him his love.
For
He's been
sure.
around for a long time.
He deserves it. All right, so where were we?
We're starting the season off. You just said we hijacked everything from your awesome first event.
You're good. So basically what I was saying was we were at that airbag, and I gotta say a lot of my season evolved around one trick that I learned, and that was the switch 1616 with the Esco grab.
What's an Esco grab?
So Esco is when you're doing a safety grab and your lead arm is coming across and doing like a seatbelt with the grab and in the same ski.
All right.
And so basically that trick, I'll say that trick changed my life. And basically the story of how I learned that trick was we were at the airbag. I had done, I was working on I forget what I was working on. I was working on like my switch on Nat 16s. I was working on trying to do some triple 18s. And just some of my like goals that I had. And basically one day I was like, I kind of worked through all that stuff and I was just messing around. I was like, damn, it'd be sick if I could do like a switch 12 with an Esco grab. Because I started to learn that.
So who made Esco grab cool? And did you do seatbelt grabs before you did an Esco grab?
Yeah, I've definitely done the seatbelt first. I think it was Henrik. And I think he named it kind of after Pablo Escobar.
That's dope. I never knew Henrik named tricks before.
I'm pretty sure it was kind of Henrik that really brought that grab to life. But honestly, like,
should we check with Jason Aarons? Should I call him right now?
Fact check it after.
Yeah,
check it after.
But yeah, that kind of it's such a dope grab, and it's kind of been slept on for a little while. And nobody had really been doing it. And then I started playing around with like some carving dub 12s with Esco and stuff. And I was like, yo, this is like sick. But anyways, I'm on the bag. I'm like, damn, it'd be really cool if I could do a switch 12 with Esco. Just like messing around, no intentions or anything. And the first one that I did, I grabbed it and it like wrapped through and like went to 16 and I opened up to my back and I was like, holy shit, like that would be insane. And so I gave it like 2 more goes and it like worked. And I was like, damn, this is really cool. And so the next day I went up to Prime Parks.
So did this grab just speed you up faster than you thought in your head?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like the momentum of bringing your lead arm like back across you, like just throws you into this wrap. But it also makes it really hard to actually get both hands on the ski because the G are pretty heavy. But anyways, went up the next day to Prime Parks and I started to learn it and I was like just repping it, trying to get it done. And I couldn't do it with my poles for some reason. And so I had to drop my poles and I like figured out how to get the grab and I was like, all right, sick. Like this is really cool. And that's kind of basically how I learned that trick. And I had no idea.
My next question. When you keep trying triples, what does that mean? Are you crashing every time? And if so, like what the fuck?
So again, this is shouting out Hanley again, and all the trampoline work that I've done is it's given me so much air awareness that every one of these tries is straight to feet. Even if like you miss your power, you miss your grab, like I still like have learned to know where I am in the air because of all that tramp foundation work that I've done. But yeah, basically that was the start of that trick. I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with that. I was like, this is pretty sick. Like it's a cool rotation. It's a cool grab. It's only a 16. Like everyone's doing 19s. Charlie's doing 21s. stuff like that. And I go to, anyways, I'll move on from that. That's kind of how I learned that trick. And then that first comp was right there in Subai again. We had a slope style. It was terrible weather the whole fucking time. And then we got one good day, which was meant to be our final day. And we managed to get run a full qualies, which was a straight final result. And I ended up getting fifth. I was really stoked with my run. That was.
Can I ask you, as a skier, when you're doing that, are you going in the idea as an athlete that that's a final run, or are you thinking it's a qualifying run?
No, when we knew it was when we knew that was the last day, it's going to be a finals. It's usually I have a qualies run. I back it down a fair bit just to make it through. But that was balls to the wall, give it everything you got.
And the reason why I asked this is because as a competition fan, I'm the biggest Andre fan ever, because he competes qualifications as if it's going to be windy or shitty weather.
Yeah.
And when I watched that his whole career, I'm like, that's why you're the boss.
For sure.
So I was just curious on what you have to go into, if they actually tell you it's qualifying or if you actually have knowledge.
Sometimes you got to play it by ear. You got to look ahead at the weather and be like, oh, finals day is looking pretty sketchy. Maybe we should, step it up and try to put something down and get a higher qualifying result just in case. Which has definitely happened before. But not in this case. Yeah, this case they were yeah, this is the last day. If we're gonna get a comp off, it's gonna be right now. So let's go.
So how did you do?
Snagged fifth. I was stoked. That was a huge result for me. Definitely one of my top results. I was like, bang, that's a great start. We got some good Olympic points. We're looking good for qualifying. And then we flew.
To clarify, you get 2 whole seasons to qualify?
Technically a season and a half. But that's most countries aside from the States. Okay, so yes. The Olympic qualifying period started in November and goes right up until the Olympics. And New Zealand team has their own qualification criteria and stuff, but then we also have to hit I
was just interested if you're going into the season, because that's pretty fun when you have a season and a half. If you're even if your worst case scenario is you can go all season, get injured the last event in March, but if you did good, you qualified for the Olympics, and then you got 9 months to recover fully, as a competition head.
For sure.
So it's pretty awesome for your mental.
But yeah, my teammate Ben Barclay, who's also from New Zealand, he kind of had a scary story from the Olympics before, and he put it he had it down to the last comp where he had one more comp to qualify. And he managed to do so, which was so lucky, and I was so hyped for him. But yeah, I was like, damn, I do not want to be in that position, last comp, putting it all on the line, this is make or break it. So yeah, I was like, damn, I just want to get some high results right off the bat and be feeling good, not having that stress of qualifying for the rest of the season. But anyways,
does fifth place qualify you?
No, absolutely not. You need a bunch more results too. But that was a great start, and Olympic qualifying points. And so if you're in the top 8, you're getting a decent amount of points.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that. That was great. And then we had to go to China for the first Big Air World Cup. Well, actually, there's one in Core, Switzerland in October, but we've never gone to that one. It's a stadium Big Air, scaffolding Big Air. But we
do you like those? Because from what I learned, FIS is going to go to full stadium Big Airs after this Olympics.
Really?
And have these kind of in runs and landings.
I only did my first one this year.
And is it the same as jumping a Big Air, or is it totally different, or what's the difference between a stadium Big Air?
I mean, it's wild because you're standing at the top of the drop-in and you're dropping in on fake snow. and then you get halfway down and it switches to real snow. So that
Okay.
part was wild. And then also the landings are a lot shorter too. So, you get such a quick transition coming out of them. And they definitely can't build them as big. And then it's also just a weird environment. Like my first one was in Klagenfurt, which was literally in a stadium. And there's no snow around. You look down the side and you're dropping down to the floor. And they have like netting on the side if you do end up like carving out or something. So it's like it's sketchy, and it definitely took a few hits to kind of get comfortable up there. But anyways, yeah,
Is it fun?
we were in China. Yeah, it's pretty fun after a while. But we're in China, and China is like where the last Olympics were. They built that crazy concrete big air jump, and it's sick. And it's definitely one of the most consistent jumps in the world. Because you're not really affected by the wind too much. Every lap's pretty similar with speed, and it's usually pretty good weather down there, which is nice. But anyways, I pulled out the new trick, that switch trip 16 that I just learned, and I scored like the highest score of the day in qualies. And at this point, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to make finals. Like the level of these big air comps are just ballistic. And yeah, I scored like the highest score of the day and qualified through. And I was like, holy crap, this is insane.
How many World Cup big airs did you do previous to this season?
Um, I did pretty much a full circuit a year for the previous year or two.
Which is 4 or 5, or if
Yeah,
it's 2 seasons, it's 8, right?
yeah, it's around 8 to 10, I think.
Right.
But yeah, I'd probably only done like 8 of them or so. But yeah, and then I ended up getting fourth place at that comp. And that set the fire for the season. I was like, I'm so close to the podium right now. I'm gonna fucking start winning this.
As
Like,
a high level competitor, do you look at what other people do, or do you really only focus on your own tricks?
I mean, of course, you're always looking at whatever everyone else is doing and seeing what's winning, what's creative, what the judges are liking at the time.
Because
But
this year was tough, man. Like if you look at it, like with the reverts or whatever the fuck you want to call it,
yeah,
and so like they were. If I was a judge or looking at it, I was like, holy cow, man, that's hard to communicate. That's personal preference now that you're judging. Because that could be. This goes to our conversation yesterday, Ethan. This would be like a break in form, right? Where a guy all of a sudden fucking reverts or changes direction. But dude, he didn't change it didn't look that dope. But physically we knew it was gnarly. And so all of a sudden it became personal preference and judging. So from afar, I agree with it because it pushes the sport. But at the same time, I go, that's confusing because perfection for the first time in a long time isn't winning.
right.
And so, yeah, no, I'm just interested because like I was blown away. I wouldn't want to be a judge and I wouldn't want to be a competitor trying to navigate this year.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that because after those pullbacks and things started coming around, we started having meetings before every comp, and the judges were like, "What do you guys think? Like, you're the ones doing it. What like are these pullbacks like? How do we compare uh like a dub 7 pullback or a dub 9 pullback compared to a 19? It's like they're creative, it's different, it's new, it's difficult, but then how do you compare a 900 to a 1980?
Yep.
And that was like that was a huge debate all of last season, and what it came down to a lot was risk factor. If you're doing 3 flips and doing a triple 1980 versus doing a double cork 9, yes, it's just as technical and it's just as hard, but the risk factor is a lot lower. Like, if you're coming out of a dub 9, you can just bail out and slide out, whatever. If you're coming out of a trip 19, you're full commitment to pulling over 3 flips. And so, yeah, that was a huge debate for a while there.
And how does that go? Does that work pretty good? Do you guys have good communication with judges and athletes, and like everyone's fun growing in that little world?
Yeah, for sure. We got to give a huge shout out to Jason Aarons at the moment here, because he has done so much work with the athletes, organizing these meetings, talking to individual athletes. He even put on like a judging clinic. He's put on multiple judging clinics, and then he even did one, like he's done a couple in Stubai every year. Gets the whole crew together. They go through how they judge it. They give us examples. So we do practices, and he's so onto it always, and is so open to all ideas and any ideas. And yeah, he's been a huge help to the progression of our sport and to how things are judged. And he's a really great, middleman to hear all aspects and give out the best form of judging that they can do. So yeah,
awesome to hear.
But yeah, that's been a huge change in our sport for sure. Is the whole pullback thing.
You got 5th in China. You're stoked.
Fourth in China.
Okay, so now we're before Christmas. What's next?
So I got a 5th and a 4th. I'm sitting pretty good. Got
one
really
slope
good.
style, one big air.
Yeah, and I'm hungry. I was mad after China. I was like, 4th is such a tough position because it's such a rewarding result, yet you're not on the podium.
And you're a double loser because you qualified first.
Yeah.
So you should have been first.
But yeah, I guess what was next? Oh yeah, next was the heaviest comp period of my life was in January. So we head over to Austria. I was with my coach, and we did a little bit of training at Absolute Park, which is such a dope place. And then we have Klagenfurt Big Air, like one day off to drive to the next one, then Kreisberg Big Air, one day off, go to Locks, and then straight after Locks was straight into the X Games week. So this is and then straight after X Games, we had 2 more comps in Aspen. So this was like going to be a crazy comp period. But anyways, we had our qualification day on January 1st. So, no New Year's partying, no nothing. We're in this random city of Klagenfurt, hitting a half dry slope, half snow jump in a stadium. And yeah, it was wild. But basically,
was there a big crowd?
Not on the qualies day, but on finals for sure.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, I pulled out those same 2 tricks that I did in China, and because I was able to do those 2 tricks, even though the jump was a bit smaller, it put me above the guys that were doing like the 21s and the 1980s and stuff, because that isn't as doable on a jump on like those stadium big air jumps because they're just smaller. And yeah, that was my first World Cup win, was in Klagenfurt, and it was life-changing. It was crazy.
Why was it life-changing? Just for the idea, the feeling?
The feeling, like, I did not expect to win a World Cup this year. And
were you perfect?
Sorry?
Like when you landed, were you perfect? Like, did you know that you did what you wanted to do?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I was hyped. I was so proud of my skiing that day. And yeah, it was like a tear-jerking moment being at the top, because in the big airs, if you're sitting in first on the last run, or on the last run, the order switches. So if you're in first, you drop last. If you're in last, you drop first, so forth. And yeah, I'm standing at the top. I'm guaranteed a podium. I'm about to drop. I'm about to go bigger. I'm I'm planning on, trying to up my score if I need to. And then I see the scores come in, and I've just won my first ever Big Air World Cup, and I'm standing up there with my coach, and it was like just the
Wait,
crazy.
what'd you do on your victory jump?
I think I did like a double backflip.
Dope. All right.
But yeah, that's where the season really kicked off. January, I guess it was like January 2nd or January 3rd.
You want to know something? That crowd understood the double backflip was the dopest trick of the night.
Yeah, so they have no idea what we're doing with the pullback.
No, but double backflip is guaranteed winner under a chairlift or in a stadium.
For sure. So yeah, that was huge. And then next day we get in the car and we drive to Kreisberg for the next Big Air. And ended up winning that one too. Switched up the game plan a little bit with my second trick just because the jump was a bit bigger. But yeah, ended up winning that one as well. And I was like, this is just insane.
Just out of curiosity, now that you've hit this big point, what's the first place check in fist?
13,000 Swiss francs.
For each one.
Yeah, for each.
You made 26,000 Swiss francs in a week.
Yeah. Well, 20,000 US because it's like.
Yeah, and then you're taxed. Let's all be real. But when said and done, the paychecks you held over your head that were cardboard, they added up to 26,000 Swiss francs.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is this is crazy. And then one day off and we go straight to locks, put the locks open, and I just blew it there. I just did not put down a run.
Is the locks open a FIS event? Is it a World Cup?
Yeah, now it is. So it used to be just a snowboard event.
Well, and then they held the Euro Open back in the day.
Yeah.
Or skiing.
Yeah, that's right. But that hadn't been around for a little while. But yeah, the past 3 years now, it's been a FIS World Cup.
Okay. So you didn't do good there? You crashed or what?
Yeah, I just blew both of my runs, and that was a bummer.
So with two first places, are you qualified for the Olympics? You have to be. In America, 2 first places qualifies you.
I think I was, yeah.
So when do you find this out? It has to be a big news, no? That like your coach comes to you and goes, you just hit your points. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was.
You think you don't remember when you qualified for your first Olympics?
Not really. I don't really like focused on that, honestly. I think everything was.
Hey, I'm just saying, kind of a big thing.
Dude, it was 2 World Cup wins in like a week and a half. Like I had so much running through my mind at that time, but yeah, I think that's when it was that I had just qualified.
I'm just thinking as a coach, as a national coach, when you go to an event, because you're talking to your team back home, like that's when the coach comes and gives you a big hug and be like, we're doing it, dude. You know, like, are you the first person to qualify from New Zealand other than the Synot girl or something?
Yeah,
you have.
I think I would have been the first person to qualify.
That's what I'm saying. Big up yourself, man. Like now take it in like 4 months later. Understand what you did.
After a while I took it in and I was like, holy crap, this is this is crazy. But all right, so this is where things change. This is where I'm like, damn, I just hope I get an X Games invite. And I'm like waiting and I'm seeing other people getting their invites and stuff. And I'm like,
Question. Locks did it. Was that slopestyle and big air?
That was just a slopestyle.
Okay, so this was only your second slopestyle of the year. Okay, this is what I want to understand when we'll get into big air and slopestyle separation.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But anyways, yeah. And one day I wake up, check my emails, and there it is. Boom. Invitation to X Games. Oh, sorry. Actually, no, that's not true. In Klagenfurt, after the first big air win, I got the email saying, you're an alternate for big air in X Games. And I was like, holy crap, that's insane. And then like 2 minutes later, I get another email and I'm like, what? Like, this is strange. And it says, you're also an alternate for slopestyle. And I was like, no freaking way. Like, this
Why do you think what did you get for slopestyle at your first slopestyle event in Dubai?
fifth.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, I wish I had a spot, but I mean, I'm still going to get to go to X Games. I'm still going to get to be a part of the week as an alternate, and I'm stoked on that. And then hopefully I'll get in.
Another quick question: was there any other slopestyle events between Dubai and Lax?
No,
Okay, so it's not okay.
those were the only
That's
two.
crazy.
And then when I was in Locks, I got an email from the guy who runs it, Chris Schuster, X Games, and he's like, "Hey man, we've confirmed you a spot for Big Air." So then I had like just gotten my first proper spot to X Games,
Wicked.
and that was crazy.
Do you know what happened? Did somebody get hurt leading up to X Games?
There was something to do with Eddie Theriault.
Yeah.
He originally had an invite for both slope and big air, but I don't think he had really been skiing too much of that. He had been focusing on a lot of film projects and street and stuff at that time, and I think that's why he decided to pull, because he just didn't feel prepared. And so yeah.
Did it shake your confidence when you did bad in Lax? Because like you were on a roll. You're like, okay, fourth, fifth, now I'm podium, and then boom, you suck again.
And then X Games right after the first kind of defeat mentally.
Yeah. So like, did that mess with your head? Because you were on a great trajectory prior to that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, at first, yes, but I just made a few mistakes in. It wasn't even a qualies; it was a semis. Or sorry, it was a qualies before a semis. And I was like, "Come on, man!" Because last year in Locks as well, I got a bad gust of wind and decked the last jump on both runs. So I was just bummed. I was like, second year in a row.
So was it weather for you?
No, not this time.
Okay.
I just made two really annoying mistakes. But then, like, after, like, I was planning, I was like, this is a mellow run for me. I'm like, how did I blow such a mellow run? And then I was, like, planning on doing this big run for finals. I was like, I'm trying to win this thing. And I ended up, like, watching the comp and watching Burke win. I had the exact same run planned as Burke. So I was like, all right, it's not too bad. Like, I could have been doing well if I skied well. Like, I had this same run planned, and it could have been a good result. So I wasn't too bummed by the end there. But yeah, then we went straight to X Games, and things got even more crazy.
Hell yeah! So
So X Games happens. I want to know how X Games works for you. So this is your first X Games. You get an invite. Do you have to think about, like, I guess you just won, so you're not too stressed on money when you go. But like, how does someone like you go from New Zealand to the X Games? There's not a team vocal house, is there? There's not a monster. Where do you go when you go to X Games as an up and comer that gets invited last minute? Do you get to stay in the dope city?
And you're still Monster Army at this point, correct?
I'm still Monster Army at this point.
Yeah, because Monster's big at X Games. It's fun to be on Monster at X Games.
For sure. And so yeah, got the invite. My teammate Ruby Andrews had also gotten an invite, so she was going. And then this kid Finley Ives, who you guys probably know from Halfpipe, he got an invite, and then Zoe Sinnott was also going. And so New Zealand team had booked a house, because we had our physio going, we had our coaches going, we had other athletes going. So they did have a house. But
is that normal? Does New Zealand team normally get a house at X Games now?
Only if we know athletes are going.
Okay, awesome.
Because in the past they have, like, Nico and Zoe would go every year, and then Ruby went last year as well. So they were like expecting it, and they had it budgeted and everything. in case we did have athletes going. But basically, I reached out to the guys at Monster because they get to stay at the Limelight Hotel, right in downtown Aspen. And I was like, "Hey guys, like, just got an X Games invite. You guys down if I came and crashed?" And Josh was super awesome. He's like, "Hey man, just got you a spot in the hotel. Hyped you're coming out." So yeah, big ups to Josh for helping me hook that one up.
Talk about the Limelight a little bit because it is it's the spot to be as an athlete. Isn't it like a little lounge that you guys could all hang out in? You get a private shuttle, all that stuff.
Yeah. There's breakfast and dinner, nice lounge. All the rooms are so nice. There's a pool, a hot tub. They have like this blacked out van with a big Monster logo on it that brings us to and from the hill. That's running all day long, and it's like all my idols in there, all the top Monster athletes. And yeah, it was it was sick.
So what's this like for you, right? As a competition kid that's used to FIS World Cup, national team doing whatever it is, how you travel, how you do this. And now you show up at Aspen because I got to go to this place for like a decade plus. And like when you do it, it's just not normal. You know, like wherever else you go in the world, maybe teen was close to it when they had Euro X Games because it was so special. But once said and done, it's Aspen. It's where it comes from. So you, as a New Zealander, where you saw Jossie, you saw these people, now you like live in Jossie's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's crazy to me. Like, I think right now, this might be the biggest, if I was a kid, this would be the biggest moment in my career because you're like, no way people know who I am.
Yeah.
No way I earn this. No way this is fun. No way, look at that perfect jump. Because that's the best part about X Games is it's the perfect half pipe, perfect jump, perfect slope style. And you're like, fuck, man, fists just like, they gave us some janky shit sometimes.
Yeah. Right?
So what is it like? I see that they gave you all that, you just explained it, but like for you, was this a different feeling as a kid? Or was it just, once again, you're just going to another event?
It's not even like being from New Zealand or anything. It's just like, I've always just been a kid like that loves skiing, that's been wanting to make it. And, you know, I wasn't a big name or anything. I was like just kind of starting to break through this year. And like being at X Games has always been the pinnacle. And like I've like watched X Games in person a few times when I was a Grom. And it was like, this is my biggest dream come true. I'm here at X Games. Like I'm one of the dogs now, you know?
Yeah, because what? How many people are invited?
There's only like 8 in each discipline.
Word. So let's put that in perspective for you to like give yourself a little love too. 8 people in the goddamn world got invited to Aspen, and you're one of them.
And so yeah, that I mean, just showing up and being part of the week, I was like, going in, I was like, dude, this is just the biggest dream come true. I'm gonna make the most of every moment being here. This isn't about the result. This isn't about anything but enjoying the experience and you know, just embracing it because like it's the X Games, you know.
So at this moment, you're qualified for slopestyle and you're in the alternate list for big air?
Qualified for big air, alternate for slope.
Okay. Continue. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. But I was actually, turns out I was second alternate for slope. I didn't know that at the time. But then when Eddie pulled out of slope as well, Mate got put in for the slope style spot. So then I moved up to first alternate.
Okay. Mate didn't win, did he?
No.
Okay. That'd have been crazy.
And then, yeah. So I guess it was just sick being there. You know, I got to train at night on the X Games jump. I got to be a superstar for a week.
So were you on your game when you're going to practice?
Oh, for sure.
So when you're going to practice and you're on your game, are you fucking equal with all your fucking idols?
Yeah, which was crazy to, you know, think about and be around. It's like, I can't believe I'm at the top of the X Games course with Alex Hall and Evan.
So now you're at the top with all these guys, and you're like, "Yo, I just put that down. Like I would have beat them." Like
Yeah.
it's a different vibe when you go to sleep knowing you will.
Yeah.
You know, especially at X Games. Like it's not a lot of sleep, but it's fucking great because it's like I don't know, it's a different level of confidence that maybe a person doesn't feel ever.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on it. And so when you go into this shit, so first of all, is slope style happen first? So that's out of the picture, then you know it's not happening.
So not exactly. Like I got to train all week. I got to be part of the event for the week, and I was learning a run that I wanted to do, like just in case. I was like, I'm gonna make the most of it. Like try to put down a sick run that I'm stoked on, even if I'm not in the comp. Like,
yeah.
Actually, I got a really sick story about one of the training days.
Because I'm curious if you thought you were as on point in slope style as Big Air.
I had the sickest run of my life in one of the training days. Not because of what I did, but I had my God, what am I doing? I had Andreas Hotveit following me down the slopestyle course, and oh God, why am I forgetting his name? Anyways, I'll come back to that. But basically, it's we had I think we had like 3 or 4 training days. And the night before slopestyle, we had a big air training that finished at like 8:30 or 9 p.m. It was like under the lights. It was sick. And I'm sitting in the athlete lounge. I'm getting my gear off and stuff, and I get an email, and it says, "You're in for slope."
Wicked.
I was like, no freaking way. I was like, this is insane. And I was like, had a really hard time falling asleep that night.
So that means you're competing the next morning.
Means I'm competing the next morning. But yeah, that was probably one of the sickest emails to ever receive. But yeah, I mean, I just went out that day and they had a bit of a weird kind of qualification thing where it was like they had 2 rounds. You go through your qualifiers and then the top, I think it's top 4 guys go for another run. And first run I put down, I think I got like an 87 or something. And I was like, damn, that's a huge score. Like, that's crazy. And then the second run, I put down a even better run and I move into first place. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is the craziest moment of my life. I'm standing at the bottom of the X Games course. There's people everywhere cheering and stuff, and I'm at the top of the leaderboard on the screen. I'm like, there's no way. And then that's when I start like freaking out and being like, okay, I need to focus in. Like, I could win this thing. And so
after 2 runs to make sure you're in first place, and then you still have to. So this is qualifying round.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand the format. I didn't watch it this year. So now you go into the next round, and what happens?
There's 2 more runs. You get 2 more runs to better your run. And I had just done like the biggest run of my life, and so I go and I put that same run down again. I'm last to drop. So everyone goes before me, puts down their runs. I'm last to drop. I put down the same run, and bang, straight back up to the top of the leaderboard. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening? And so we all go back up, one final run, and it was the same thing as Klagenfurt. I'm watching everyone go down. I'm watching Mac forehand. I'm watching Andre Rigetti. I'm watching Connor Ralph. And it comes down to Andre's last run. He was sitting in second, and he was the only guy that could beat me. And he made like one little mistake, and I'm watching the screen next to his coach and my coach, and his coach goes, that's it. Yo, congrats. And Andre hadn't even finished his run yet. I was like, congrats. I was like, what? It's like, wait, what are you talking about?
It's like, it's on time, it's normal, you won.
Yeah. And then, yeah, score comes in, doesn't better it, and I'm standing at the top of the X Games course, and I just won an X Games gold medal. And it was just such a special moment. I had Colby Stevenson, I had Alex Hall, I had the whole U.S. team, I had all the coaches just like, clapping there, giving me love, giving me hugs, dapping me up. And it was just, I just couldn't believe it.
So sick.
That's so dope. Your first ever World Cup victory and your first ever fucking X Games victory was a victory lap.
Right?
Like, I don't know if you might be the only person to ever say that, just so you know.
It's crazy.
I don't think anyone's had the idea to like most people that if anyone else has that first scenario, first win World Cup, first X Games, I bet anyone else was on their fucking holy shit, it's go time.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, it's double back time.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was just crazy, and it was such a surreal moment. And coming down, and you're being like, you were alternate yesterday, and then you've come out and just won your first X Games.
Well, you were double alternate, right?
At first, and then
Yeah.
I got my spot for Big Air like a week beforehand, but
Yeah. It's just sick though. Like you go.
Congratulations, man! Like it's a really cool story. As far I don't think I ever heard it, and I don't think and both those things from the World Cup and the X Games within a month, within 4 weeks, within fucking 28 days.
Yeah, right.
So just like when you put those numbers into perspective, man, let's celebrate that because no one else in the previous 27 years have done that.
Yeah.
What'd you do after the win? Because slopestyle is like right at the beginning of the day.
What did I do? I was swarmed by people and interviews, and I had like security people walking me through this crowd because I had to go and do this big, I think it was an ESPN interview thing for X Games.
On the couch?
No, it was like this big, I think it was like a big green screen behind me, and they had lights displayed down a big camera.
At the inn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down in the inn. And it took me an hour to get down there, and the people were getting pretty bummed because there's people coming up to me left and right, and I'm trying to walk through this huge group of people to to get to this interview place. But yeah, that took 45 minutes to do that whole interview thing, and they just kind of went through the backstory a little bit and asked me a ton of questions and stuff. And it was really hard for me to kind of comprehend what had just happened. And I didn't want to settle down because I had Big Air the next night. So I went and got food, and I was just hanging out, and then I was exhausted. I was mentally so exhausted and tired, and I just couldn't handle being around people anymore, and I was just kind of freaking out in my mind, and I don't know, it was just a crazy experience. But yeah, everyone's like, oh, yo, let's party tonight. Are we going out tonight? And I'm like, I got big. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm going to bed.
I gotta go win some shit tomorrow.
Yeah. And then, so I tried to not let the whole just won X Games get into my head too much. I was trying to stay calm and stay pretty chill because I knew I still had another job to do the next night. Because going into X Games, I was like, there's potential I could get a medal here at this at Big Air. I wasn't going in thinking I was getting a medal in slopestyle, but I was like,
no, and slopestyle is fucking precision, fucking Big Air psycho. So it's two different brain mindsets, and that's why it's impressive, that you could even have the mentality. Yeah. And then yeah, it's fun to listen to. Keep going.
But yeah, I was like, I've just come off 2 Big Air wins. There's a chance here. And so I was like, I really want to focus on putting some sick shit down in Big Air and seeing what I can do with that.
So in Big Air in your head the night before, Are you dreaming of new stuff, or are you perfecting whatever you've been doing to win?
So it was a weird format this year for Big Air. It was one trick.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you could do as many tricks as you wanted in the runs that you got, but basically, it was one score counted, and I think it was two jumps. Yeah, two jumps for qualies, two jumps for finals, and so I had an idea of the trick that I wanted to do, and then I had a step up in mind, but I wasn't sure I was going to do the step up unless I really needed to, because
Yeah.
it was terrifying. And also, I wanted to portray another trick that I'd been working on too. So basically, my plan was to go do the triple cork 1980 blunt and see what that scored. And then if that was good and I got through to the final round, I wanted to do the switch trip 18 Esco, which I had never done before. And yeah,
What was your closest trick that you did previous to that?
the switch trip 16 Esco.
Okay.
So I just hadn't added the last 180 before.
All right.
But yeah, basically it comes down to the night. I lace the trip 19 blunt, get a huge score for it. And I'm like, sweet, like I'm going through the finals, no problem. And so I was like, I'm gonna show off like this switch trip 18 Esco. I'm gonna show, just show the crowd what I got, show the judges what I got. And I did it, but I put my hands down because I just went a bit bigger than I thought. But I was like, whatever, like it's chill. This is sick. I'm in finals. Finals come around. I forget where I was dropping, but I did the trip 1980 blunt again, laced it, was super stoked, got a huge score. And I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. Like I could podium right now. Like this is going to be crazy. And then I look up and there's Mate, and he's just done switch tail butter triple. What was it? Switch tail butter triple 2160. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And then T-Pod, perfect triple 21 mute. I'm like, what the heck? And then Miro Tabanali, forward double 2340. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, what just happened? And I'm freaking out. And I'm standing at the bottom. And I'm talking to Burke Rude at the bottom because he knows of this next trick that I've been thinking about doing. And he's like, bro, you got to do it. I'm like, do you think I got it? He's like, you got it. He gave me like this pep talk. And I was like, I've never been so in this crazy state of mind before. And he's giving me this pep talk and he's hyping me up. He's like, dude, you freaking got it. And I thought I felt like I was Tanner Hall. I felt like I was Henrik with Tanner talking to me, hyping me up. Like when Henrik went for the nose butter triple. It was literally like the same moment. I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. Like my idol, Berkrud, is hyping me up to get me to do this trick that's never been done that I could win with. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to freaking do it. And I get on the snowmobile and I get off and I run up the stairs to the top of the scaffolding, drop in. And I see my coach because I had like no time. I was wasting too much time at the bottom. And I'm like, Hamish, are we doing this thing? He's like, I'm here with you 100% if you're down. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I'm like, I'm standing at the top. My music's blasting. I don't hear anything. I don't see the crowd. I'm just looking at the jump. And I'm thinking of this trick. And I just have to force myself to drop. And I drop in. And as I drop, I'm like, there's no turning back. This is full commitment. It's all or nothing right here. And yeah, I sent the triple 2160 blunt and landed on my feet, and I freaked out. Lost my mind.
It was so sick. I was ready.
What'd you end up? I don't even know what you got.
Oh, Iberg doesn't even know the results.
No, tell me.
And then so I'm sitting in what was I sitting in? I was
Third
sitting
or fourth.
in third.
Okay, so you're in third.
So Troy went for the trip 2340 mute. And I didn't know if he had landed or not. So I had no idea where I was. I thought
Did he land it?
No, unfortunately, he did not.
Okay, so now you're in a position. Three guys left. You're a guaranteed medal position.
Yeah, but
you don't care about this shit.
But I wanted to go for more.
Yeah. So now you're in guaranteed medal position. You're dropping in like you're going for a gold. So what place do you move into on the score?
And so I freaked out on that landing. I couldn't believe I just landed it. And then at that point, I was like, I don't even care what I get. I'm like, I'm so stoked I just landed that. Like that trick had been going through my mind for so long, like for the past like year or so. And I was like, I don't even care about the result. And Mate is in front of me, and I end up bumping up just below first place into second. And they gave it to Miro for the double cork 2340. But it was still just such a special moment. And
so what did you end up overall? I don't know this on the big air.
Second.
So you got a gold medal and a fucking silver medal, your first ever X Games?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Big up yourself.
But yeah, it was nuts. You know, I had Burke there, I had Mate, I had Troy, I had so much going on, so many people like losing their minds, hyping me up, being stoked and proud of me. My dad was there. It was crazy. I had friends, I had family, I had people from New Zealand out. I had my whole team there supporting me. And it was like the coolest moment of my life.
That's crazy. Congrats. That's nuts.
And the crowd is so epic for Big Air too. It's like under the lights, everyone's there, nothing else going on. Like everyone's there just for that event.
Yeah. It was insane.
Yeah. So sick. I'm watching it right now. Yeah. So, okay, this is a good time to talk about where does Big Air even go from here, dude? Like I was watching it and I was like, what do you even do after this? Like is it just all quads from now on? We just turn into pure aerials?
I don't know. I've been trying to give this a big thought myself, honestly. And it's kind of hard to say where it's going to go. I don't really think, like some people think quads are going to be doable, but the X Games jump was the biggest jump we hit all year. And it wasn't like crazy big, you know? It was a really, really good jump, but it wasn't crazy big. And to do quads, you're going to need big ass jumps. And yeah, honestly, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like I have different ideas of where I want to go with my big air skiing. I've been thinking about like trying to combine the pullback variations, but with bigger tricks and bigger rotations. So trying to combine a bit of the spin to win with the new creative pullback style. But
here's my piece of advice, Luca. Type in back. I don't even know. There's a shot from an aerialist in Park City that does a back full to the left, hits apex, and does a back right full.
Yeah.
So when people start to figure out their pullbacks at apex and can make it a fluid rotation, like that's the next phase that's real right now. Like everyone was thinking pullback landings instead of this apex because we studied it. I have for 23 years. And I was just like, dude, it's possible, but you just have to figure out always apex rotation for one. And then that billionth of a second, when you can change your rotation, it's all about like being really smooth. So I think there's another year of that because everything was so raw this year and the rawness got slowed down for how it got judged.
Yeah.
But when people start to really figure it out, like, and really take the time to do it, there's a whole new element of right to left or left to right of high rotation multi-flip because you can do two flips up, one flip down. Let's imagine triples with reverts, right? Or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But if you make sure that you're on your 2 flips up and hit apex at your neutral position, and then you're 1 flip down, changing your rotation,
Yeah.
it's just it, man. And I'm so stoked because I seen some kids do it on rollerblades
Yeah.
last 7 years in the foam pits, where cork 7 left, cork 7 right, all built off apex. And I was like, what? It could be so ill with holding a grab. Like you can hold a safety and change your rotation.
I agree, but yeah, I think that still needs a lot of time.
That's what I'm saying. No one's going to fucking do that for the Olympics.
But
Everyone's going to.
my homie Troy Teapot, he did a trick this year, and it was like a left flat 3 into a right cork 7, and that was like touching on that idea of the left and right spinning rotation. But the problem
It has to start with doubles, because like your brain is not going to switch for 2 flips up how fast you have to do for your speed and trajectory and everything and false air.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible, but the double is so fun. Once everyone figures out the double and all that, like I've been waiting for a decade, man.
Yeah.
Like 2 decades. Like it's going to be there and it's going to look so different.
For sure.
But I don't think it's realistic in competition scheme.
I think that's the hardest part is like, I think those tricks are doable, but it's figuring out how to do that while holding a grab the whole way through and making it look good.
Yeah. Anything at 1800 though, like, you know what I mean? Like you figured it out with the seatbelt crossover to speed up rotations.
Yeah.
But when you're speeding up that fast to do the crossover and switch at the billionth of a second you have to do it realistically in your trick, it's got to be learned for a while. And a lot of people always slow down that because of crashes or because it doesn't give them success. So it'll be super fun, like, because you see a couple people get there.
Yeah.
But there's no reward yet.
Yeah.
Luca, do you think that Miro's trick should have beat yours? Or do you think that yours deserved first? And don't lie to us.
That's something I've been thinking about for a while, and I've heard a lot of like different sides, and like in a perfect world, I think my trick is technically harder, right? So holding blunt grab is way harder in the trick that I'm doing, and that's why nobody else has ever done the trip 19 blunt. And then also 777 is harder. But Miro's execution was a lot better than mine. With my rotation, honestly probably would have rather have gone 23. And on that last flip, I kind of had to like let go, and my feet were in a kind of weird position coming out and through.
You opened up a little bit, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think if I did that one perfect, then it would have beaten it.
Yeah, perfection always wins at X Games.
Yeah. So technically, yes, Miro deserved the win on this one. 2340, never been done, held grab, capped Cuban, landed well. Mad respect.
23.
So insane. What'd you guys think of the tournament style where you had to your qualifying run didn't count as your podium run pretty much? Like you have to be perfect twice.
Yeah. It was crazy going into it because we were all like discussing this, all the guys that were in the big air, and like especially me and Troy were like, and Burke. Like Troy's like, I'm going to do the trip 21, like that won X Games last year, but it's crazy to be having to do a triple cork 2160 mute in qualifiers just to go back up and do it again. There's no warm-up trick. There's no step down. It's like balls to the wall. And then if you're even more ballsy and can do one more, then that's what you're going to have to do in finals. But so I don't know. Like Mate has always been down on one trick qualies, is what he was saying for like FIS events, not the 2 trick ones. And there's always debate around that. Everyone's different. Everyone's got different perspectives on that. I personally like two tricks. I think it's cool to be able to show two different directions, show two different versions of variety, and to really prove that you're, a top like trick skier in more than one direction.
So do they do it in jam session, or you just have two jumps?
This year it wasn't a jam session. In the past they've done a few jam sessions, but this year it was 4 runs, 2 jumps for qualies, then they make the cut, and then 2 jumps for finals.
Okay.
For X Games. And I mean, I think it was sick, and I think we really pushed the sport, and it was super exciting, and it was a crazy show, but yeah, I mean, things got a little out of hand. That was nuts, and like, I think there's more to skiing than just spin to win,
There is. It's crazy. It was so wild to watch. Like, I didn't remember it, but my biggest memory was Teapot saying when the lady interviewed him, she's like, "What did you think? Like, when you were dropping in?" He's like, "I was terrified." And I'm like, "That's not what I want to hear or see."
Yeah.
Like it's like if Superman said I was terrified in a comic book before he defeated like all the evils. Right. Like, you don't want Superman to be terrified.
Yeah.
I want him to be like, "I had that shit, dog, and I fucking stomped it. What's up?" He's like, "I'm thankful to be alive." And I get it. But I feel like it's Evel Knievel, but Evel Knievel only needs to do a backflip. So when I see the progression being pushed in like a way where people don't find it fun, you're like, man, there's so many other ways where we can push it to be fun.
Well, no,
still entertain.
It's still fun, but it's fun in the scariest way possible, where you're giving up everything for this one moment, one trick,
And I get it; it's great entertainment, right? But but when we don't understand the common person. Right? Evel Knievel jumps over a Grand Canyon on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Everyone understands. You do a backflip. No way. He went upside down on something I can't do. Yeah. So when all of a sudden we're entertaining people that don't even comprehend what you're doing, like no one knows the difference between top 4 places.
Yeah.
If I watch your shit, I'm going to have to slow motion rewind and know the rotation number. I'm going to have to, only thing I'll know is if you let go of your grab early.
Yeah.
So, and then even then I'm educated. If I'm uneducated, that's not even normal. You're like, "Oh my God, the guy didn't die. That was crazy. He spun and flipped a bunch." Yeah. So it's kind of like as an entertainment idea, because I believe you guys are all entertainers before you're professional athletes, but you're so skill setted, like we're your highest level athletes, but when said and done, you're still entertaining. Oh no, it's interesting because it's a bummer when people say they're scared when they have the best days of their life.
Yeah.
And that's fun. We should scare ourselves every day.
Oh yeah.
Word up to that, like you should. But when it actually could make a difference in how you walk tomorrow, how you talk tomorrow, how you feed yourself tomorrow.
Yeah.
I care.
For sure.
So like that's why it's just, I don't know, it's interesting to see where it goes. Like, it has to get boring at some point because you can't do this scary forever.
Yeah. But I mean, and that's what's cool about like the future and where we're going to take this thing. Because I think everyone's a bit on the same page. It's like, where is this actually going to stop? But the problem is like TJ Schiller was thinking that when he did the first 16. It's like, there's no way we're going past this.
Well, the thing is, it's limited by what they can create for you guys, right? So the size jumps, like the biggest takeaway is when you give me the specs of the breakdowns of all the venues, it's just there's things that aren't realistic on it, right? So even like when I built computer programs with inverted aerialists in 2002, that's a NASA scientist and built the Mars Range Rover, and he was the first guy to do quads in competition.
Right.
Like, we tried to figure out generation things to do 5 flips.
Yeah.
5 flips has to be fucking full step up. The false air that you guys are doing is the most unsafe shit ever.
Yeah.
And like we developed full computer programs where you're like, all right, 4 flips up, 1 flip down. How are you doing that in a proper trajectory for safety?
Yeah.
Like, dude, the step up is huge.
It's funny you
So
say that. There's this video on YouTube that I just saw popped up the other day that I watched, and there's this kid who, or this guy who breaks down. He's like, is the quint possible? And he breaks down. He goes and records every quad that has been done on snow. He's timed every single one. He's looked at the size of each jump, and he's like broken down where we would need to speed up, or how big the jump would need to be, or how much airtime we would need to be to actually get a quint done.
dude, you have to like. There's no sense because you guys are almost 2.5 up, 1.5 down.
Yeah.
If you watch inverted aerialist, it's all perfection, right? The jump set of 3 meters, the trajectory to the landing, everything is set exactly for what your rotation is.
Yeah.
You know, like with so much false air. So it's already unsafe, whatever. So like when you really build it out, like why, as someone who's knowledgeable enough, would ever want to have so much false air in trying something they've never done?
Yeah.
You know, it's just the stupidest thing ever because your impact, like you throw a fucking tomato on something.
Oh yeah.
From fucking 80 feet or 8 feet for your landing point, like it splats.
Oh yeah.
So it's just kind of fun because I don't think you guys can do anything, but why do anything when you know you can do it the proper way?
Yeah.
So because I think like after we saw Little Wells do the quad, I was like, God damn, man, like I get it, but that's a ball, like having big balls and being ignorant thing. I got this. It's not like, wow, that's fun, that's really realistic, and I want to do it all the time, like a cork 3.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, that's my tangent because I love big flips, but I think it can be done safely. And I get scared when I watch you guys do this shit on small shit.
Yeah.
It is
funny that what's his name? I just listened to the Bomb Hole podcast a little while ago with Charles Beckensdale, the builder, and he's broken it down. He's like got an art to it now, and he's like got crazy like mathematical like equations and angles and stuff that he bases his jumps around.
He doesn't work for Fist.
No.
That's my point. Like it's fun because I was,
and that's why the X Games jump is always so awesome.
Yeah. Like it takes so much time and money, so it's just kind of fun to see where it's at. So let's get back, man. You just fucking dominated X Games. Now that you won a slope style at X Games, have you gotten your official qualification for Olympics for slope style?
So when you're qualifying for the Olympics and you're competing in slopestyle and big air, both results count.
Okay.
So you don't need to qualify for one and the other. It's like just based off of whatever results you're getting.
So when you qualified earlier in January, you qualified for both.
Yeah,
Correct.
correct.
In.
Awesome.
How'd you celebrate that night after you were done competing at X Games and you got 2 medals?
It was kind of crazy. So again, we had finished late. You know, it was a night event.
Yeah.
Then we had the whole podium thing. Then we had interviews, and then there's signing, there's people everywhere, there's autographs, there's this, there's that. Then you finally make your way back to the athlete lounge. You get your gear off, you're chilling, you're celebrating with, I was celebrating with my team. I called my mom. She's, crying in New Zealand, freaking out. So I sat down and chatted with her, and then got on the shuttle back to the hotel. And I get to the hotel, and there's hundreds of people in the hotel because there was like a bar there. And so everyone's in the hotel, and, I'm in the hotel. I'm talking to everyone. We're hanging out. Then all of a sudden, and then there's an after party. There's a monster after party. And then I go back to my room. I get out of my gear because it's like, it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm still in my gear. I go and get changed. I come down. We're hanging out some more, and like by the time we actually got over to the after party, it was like 1 o'clock. just because the night was like crazy. I mean, my head was buzzing. I was freaking out. There's people everywhere. I'm talking. We're all just having a good time. And then we went to the party, but then the party shut down at like 2:30. And so the party all shut down. And then I had a bunch of my friends from over in Summit County, like Copper area, Frisco, who came out to watch and all came to the party, and they're all like, "Hey, we don't have a place to stay," so I had like 8 guys in my hotel room, and we just like went to bed. But it was a fun night. It was so fun.
That's sick. What did so now you're officially big dog status. What changes with sponsors after X Games?
Uh, not a ton. Um, I think in the future there will be more, but I mean, this is when life started getting crazy. I had my phone wouldn't stop exploding, Instagram, social media, people trying to reach out to me. I'm like getting calls from all of the radios and all the TVs and TV channels in New Zealand wanting interviews, stuff like that. That's just going crazy. And then, I mean, once all that kind of settled down a little bit, that's when I like reached back out to Monster and I was like, hey, this is what's good. Like, how's it going? You told me I need some better wins, some more high level wins. Like, what's going on? And then at this point, there's other companies interested, and I guess it's just been crazy because I feel like for the past few years I've been fighting so hard to get sponsors, to get people to support me, to like earn their trust. And I haven't had an agent before, so I'm doing this all on my own. I'm like, look, this is me, guys. I trust me, I'm gonna make it. Like, this is all I want to do. Like, you gotta just put some belief in me. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants to help you out. Nobody wants to support you. There's no money. There's no this. Oh, we could flow you some gear. Blah blah blah. Then you start winning, and it's like left, right. Agents coming in at you. There's companies coming in at you. We want to support you. Hey, how's it going? And so yeah, that was definitely super
Who
open.
mentors you through this?
A lot of people. The past few years, Burke Rude has been my biggest mentor. I figured out after hanging out with him quite a bit now, we think very similarly with skiing and tricks, and just yeah, how we think about skiing and the future and progression and stuff like that. And so we've connected a lot. And with Burke being such a successful guy and being through all of these, all of these things that I'm going through these days, it's been really nice to be able to talk to him about all of this and like how to deal with talking to an agent. Should I talk to an agent? What kind of agent should I do? What should I do about 2 sponsors coming at me? And stuff like that. So yeah, he's been a huge help to me. But there's been lots of people. Jossie helped me a lot. Nico, Zoe, just anyone I can really reach out to and is open to talking about it has been super nice about being open and talking and helping me through this process. So it's been cool.
So then, were you focused still on skiing, or were there distractions now that like you had options?
Well, it's funny because right after X Games, we had like 2 days off, and then it was straight into the Aspen World Cup.
Yeah.
And after that, I just had the biggest come down after X Games, like, because it never really set in, and then it all just hit at once, and it was crazy.
I gotta give me a minute, guys. I have an air conditioning guy I've been waiting for 3 days for, and it's 90 degrees. Sorry.
Some old head stuff.
I want to hear all this.
You can't miss this. Yeah. We'll wait it out because Zyberg might be a second. If you gotta use the restroom or anything, that would be a good time. But
Sweet.
You're chilling. Sick, dude. Oh my god.
Do you live in Mammoth, or are you just out here?
We wish. I'm here with my girlfriend. We've been coming out here for a few years. she's sitting right in front of me. That's why I'm looking up at her. We met in 2023, like the really long winter they had out here where they were open till like August. I was just camping out here in my van. So we've just started coming back every year, and like it's our favorite ski town in the world. So we're like, okay, let's try out living here. And so we rented a place here all of April, and then my dad came for the first week of May, and then we're like, shit, I don't want to leave. So we rented another place for this week. And after this week, we'll finally get out here. So we've been here for like a month and a half of just chilling, and like it's crazy how fast the melt happens. Like when we first got here, whole mountain was open, and now it's like Maine is starting to go away, and so it's just the best. Like I love it here so much.
Right?
Yeah, dude, it's just awesome. And I think I'm gonna go up to Hood after this. She's gonna go back to Southern California, but I don't know. I think Mammoth is gonna keep going. Like they did the same thing this year that they do every year, which is they set a closing date, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna push it, and then they just keep on doing that until they like if they do what they did in summer 23, they could easily go to July because it's like they just keep going. She's saying no. You think they're gonna?
There's not enough snow.
There's not enough snow. I think. Yeah.
In 2023, there was like triple the snow.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe not into July, but yeah, like right into June. Are you staying till close?
I don't know yet. I'm booked in this place till the 22nd, and then I may stay longer. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna see how I'm feeling by then.
You going to Hood at all?
Nah, not Hood. I'm going over to Tahoe with my family for a nice like little summer break.
Yeah, Tahoe's sick. We're actually thinking about. We have a lot of friends that live there right now, and there's so many ski resorts. Like we finally downloaded that Slopes app that shows you where all the resorts are.
Yeah.
And in Tahoe, there's like a dozen there, so we might do that next winter. We're still figuring it out, but Mammoth is great. It's just like like it's hard. Like there's no resources here. It's the middle of nowhere. You're like 3 hours away from any like big shops.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of wicked, but I'm
so sorry, man. I've never interrupted one of these before, but the air conditioning guy only could come at a certain time.
All good, man.
You don't want to miss those guys. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, and now I have to have them go through my house with me being in the garage.
It'll be good. Yeah, Iberg spent quite a bit of time at Mammoth, Luca. It's just like every generation, it's just the best place to be. So I would love to live here, but I don't know if it's the most realistic possibility. I think I might be an every April type of guy going forward.
I think you're probably right on that. Every year we've tried to come out here for a World Cup, it's been terrible weather.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't imagine scheduling that every year. I just see it canceled because of wind, and I'm like, how do you afford that to keep that amount of humans going to be canceled?
Well, yeah, that's why this was the first year it wasn't on the schedule, and we went to Aspen instead.
It's the smartest decision for all you guys.
It makes sense. They put so much money into that freaking X Games course, like just for it to melt away or whatever.
Yeah.
So did I miss the monster? Did you get signed?
No. So this is where I've just reached back out to Josh, and he like talks to the Army guys because I actually hadn't even signed my Monster Army contract yet. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, sick. We're hyped to put you up on the program." And that's where things started, but it's been a bit of a long process. But that's just how things go. It's all right. But yeah, this is where I had just had a huge come down off of X Games and everything.
Okay.
And we're going into the Aspen World Cup. And I don't know, I just started feeling pressure, which I hadn't really felt before. Especially because I just won X Games, and then we're doing a comp on the same course. It felt like I had to win again. And I qualified. Where did I qualify? I qualified like top 3, so I like had a really good qualifying. And then just on the day, I just made some mistakes trying to up my run, and just I didn't. I think I ended up like 10th or something, and I definitely felt like that amount of like the amounts of people that I like felt like people are like, oh, why didn't you win? Like, you should have won, kind of thing. But it was
You felt like that people thought that?
just in my head. That's just
Okay.
kind of what I assumed was happening, but it
Okay.
was, and it just took a minute to kind of to figure out, like, I'm still human. I'm not just this guy that gets to win everything. Like, I'm still just a kid that is out here doing what he loves.
Yeah, and you're a kid that qualified for the Olympics in slopestyle and big air, and
Yeah,
just fucking got 2 medals at the X Games.
yeah.
So I see, and if you weren't injured at this
Right.
event, so it sounds pretty awesome.
Big picture, but there was just so much going on after that. There's people trying to get a hold of me. I just won the X Games. I'm still trying to compete. I'm like trying to figure out what's going on, and I don't know. Things were just
What's the most unfun? Do you still take care of your own business, or did you get an agent?
I've just signed with an agent.
Yeah. So was that a headache having people come at you and not having a clue what the fuck they were going to take from you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Because
huge.
that's got to be weird as shit. Like when all of a sudden you never had anything, no one ever gave you anything. Now someone wants a piece of something you finally earned.
Sure. Yeah, it was crazy, and it's been hard because I've never dealt with these things before, and the contracts that I did have at the time, like they weren't as big as the other offers that were coming in, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, I've never seen these amounts of figures before. Like, so yeah, definitely grateful to have somebody helping me through this now.
What's the payout for X Games win these days?
Um, it was, I think it was 20,000 for first,
What was second?
15 for second.
Wow, dude,
Oh.
your January was so amazing.
Oh my god!
Like your January was like 2 years average American salary.
Right? Like, yeah. So, and then again, like these are all just life changing moments that I wasn't expecting to have this year. And yeah, just extremely.
Okay, so you finished Aspen event. You're going. What's the next thing that's coming up? You have another event in February still. Do you go to Stoneham World Cup or something like this?
Yeah, we're still in January at this point. And so after slopestyle, we had a day off, and then it was straight into the Big Air World Cup at Aspen.
Okay.
And unfortunately, by this time, the jump had melted out. Charles wasn't building it anymore. They had someone else grooming it, and the jump got a lot smaller and the jump got a lot flatter. So we weren't able to do the same tricks as we were in X Games. But at this point, I was feeling better, and I ended up getting second to Mate, and I was stoked on that. That was another huge. I was like, oh dang, I didn't win, and then I was like, what am I talking about? Like, I just landed another podium. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, the bar's already raised. Yeah.
Hey, great work, young brain, right there. Because that's the proper way to look at that moment.
Yeah, I had to like step back and be like, dude, where are you going with this? Like, you got to be grateful for being on the podium again. Like, this is just insane.
Damn.
And I think your biggest thing, like you really need to be conscious of, because of your air awareness, you probably take it for granted, but just not having an injury every week on a big air. If you guarantee you probably see one person go down every week, right?
Oh, for sure.
And,
Yeah.
and so when I look at that too, it's just that air awareness of you allows you to continue. So if you can continue and succeed,
yeah,
you're a bigger winner than anyone who gets first every day for a year.
right. If you stay healthy, like that's the most important thing in the world, dude.
I will say, Tanner and I only worked with the philosophy: it's a good day of skiing if you can ski tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you can't ski tomorrow, how dope really was today.
Yeah, I like that. Great way of looking at it.
All right. So fucking now you're still dominating. You're killing it. People are annoying you. Fucking now there's a lot of outside noise. What's after Aspen?
After Aspen, we had a small break. I think we had a week or two off.
Yeah.
and then we go to Stoneham. And this was sick. I was stoked to go to Stoneham. Never been there, new comp, a lot of history out there, a lot of really sick skiers come out of that area. So this was exciting. And I was stoked. And they had just put a bunch of money into earthworks and stuff to make this course sick for the next winter. They worked over the summer on it. And so yeah, it was great to get out there, to see a new spot, to hit a new park. And
so what do you think of this venue? Because what I loved when I watched it from afar, it looked like the smallest venue of the year. Am I right? By jump size and stuff?
Jump size was definitely small.
And so when I looked at it, I loved it because it forced you guys all to like be a creative in your slope style run.
Yeah.
And so when I watched the slope style from that event this year, I was like, wow, man, it should be a little smaller jumps because then everyone's perfection, creativity had to shine.
For sure.
So, but how did you end up doing in Stoneham?
So this was actually a really sick comp. At first, it was gnarly. It was a very rail heavy comp. Like they had some proper rails in there. Where a lot of the time we get some like big jumps and like average rails. Where this time we had the complete opposite. We had some small jumps and some heavy rails. So this was really cool. And at first I was quite overwhelmed. I was like, there's so many rail features. I don't know how to pick a line. I don't know what I'm going to do. First day, I'm like, holy shit, like freaking out, trying to figure out what I'm doing. But then once you like kind of got into the flow of the course, it was sick. Really, really fun, really creative, lots of transfers, lots of different features that you don't usually see in slopestyle runs. So that was really cool. And then another funny story about this comp was at this point in the World Cup standings, we have the overall globe at the end of the year. And me and Matej were battling for first and second in the Big Air Globe. And then I was actually in the lead for the overall globe. So the overall of slopestyle and Big Air. And Matej wasn't going to be coming to Stoneham. He's like, I'm sick of it. I don't want to go to Stoneham. Like, I just want to go home and chill for a bit. And then once he saw that I was in the lead for the overall and he was in second, he booked a flight and flew straight to Stoneham for the comp.
Fuck yeah, he's in the zone.
Yeah. And so it was pretty funny coming into it. We had like this little this bit of beef going on, but more just friendly joking.
Why are you here?
Awesome. Yeah. The only reason I came because you're in front of me.
Yeah, I was like, that's a good motivation, man. That's a fun one.
And it's hilarious because at the end of that comp, we ended up finishing first and second.
Who got first?
And I was in second.
So did he go ahead of you?
So yeah. So then he moved ahead of me. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, there's no way you just flew here all the way just to beat me and we end up first.
Beat you. Yo, that's ill.
Yeah.
But either way, you're second. Again, like, but whatever, dude. Like, you got so, like, you have the illest motivation. I'm trying to think. Like, you have another person that's on your level that can push you like that. Where, like, I look at it as fun. If I was a coach for you or something, I'd be like, fuck yeah, well, the best guy should be here. Does it really mean that much if we win and he's not here?
For sure.
You know what I mean? So, like, to me, I think that's awesome.
No, that was sweet. And give a shout out to my teammate, Ben Barclay, who was in third at this comp. And it was the first time we've ever had two Kiwis on the same podium in FIS World Cup. So that was really sweet.
Big year.
So that was sick for us. But yeah, pretty funny about the whole Matej thing. A little battle going on.
So now Matej's in the lead for overall, but you're still in the lead for Big Air?
No, so I think he was in the lead for both there.
Okay. So this is what I think is awesome at the end of so now from Stoneham, where do we go? Are we wait?
Next was I think next was teens.
So we're in March now, and teen is slopestyle and Big Air, or just slopestyle?
Teen is slope and Big Air.
Okay.
And so after Stoneham, we had a little bit of time. We went to Europe. We went back to Absolute Park for a little bit, then spent a few days in Locks. And then this is where Matej went to Slush Cup and had bruised his heels. And so this was kind of a crazy factor coming in to these last two comps. Anyways, we're in teen. We got slopestyle and big air. Big air was up first. I qualified through to finals, and Matej had showed up after not being able to ski. He didn't train at all. He skied the day. He's in so much pain. I give him so much respect for being out there and giving it a go. And he puts down, what did he do? He did like nose butter triple 16. Pretty good, maybe a little bobble. And actually, this was one of the heavier big air qualifications. And he didn't make it through. They had a top 5 cut in each heat, and Matej was like just a little bit out. So this is a big deal. This means I'm pretty much guaranteed the globe for big air. And then if I had gotten second place or higher in the big air comp, I would have had both globes. And I ended up getting third. I had a bit of a bobble on my second trick both times, and I got third. And so the next day we have the slopestyle finals. I'd made finals in that, and I'm like, I need a third place or higher now if I want to get both globes. And I had a sick run going. I was really stoked on my run. I'm like, I think I can podium with this. First run, I think I messed up on one of the rails, and I qualified first into the slopestyle final. So I'm dropping last, and of course I'm dropping last. Weather's starting to roll in. It's my final run. This is everything right here for this final globe. First jump, catch a tailwind, go to the bottom, blow up. It's done. And
so that's the slope style globe that you lost.
Overall globe.
Okay.
And but honestly, I'm pretty stoked. Like, it kind of turned out best case scenario. Both Matej and I both got a globe, and it was a huge.
And yours was for what again? Slopestyle or big air?
Mine was for big air. Matej was for the overall of slopestyle and big air combined.
Are you the first New Zealand freestyle skier to win a gold or a crystal globe?
I am, yeah.
Big up yourself. That's what I thought. I didn't think any of the Wells or Nico did it. So that's pretty fucking awesome too.
Yeah.
Like almost like as big as the X Games, just because that's a history piece, right? Like that's not a medal. That's like something you put on your shelf and you're like equivalent to a racer or I don't know. It's a different kind of medal.
Yeah, that was a huge one. That was and it's more than just one comp. That's, the whole season of hard work and effort put in. So, that was definitely another dream come true this year, that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, that wrapped up the World Cup tour, and the last comp was World Champs.
How'd you do there?
World Champs was sick. Silva Plana, one of my favorite resorts in the world. They always build some of the nicest jumps, some of the biggest jumps. Qualified through to finals, all good. Had a pretty sick run going. Unfortunately, made a little bit of a mistake on my first rail, and I ended up sixth. But I gotta say a huge shout out to everyone in that finals, because I think that was the sickest slopestyle finals we've ever had.
Did they have a world championship big air?
Yeah.
And how'd you do there?
So yeah, we had the big air world champs after slopestyle, and they built like a separate jump down in the town, so people could kind of pull up and watch it. And they had like this big stage where they were doing concerts and things. And the jump in run was on the landing of a ski jumping hill, which was kind of cool. And we were getting like taken up in these Polaris like snow things, 4x4s. But yeah, anyways, the jump wasn't the biggest, wasn't the sickest. Landing was pretty flat. I was pretty bummed. But yeah, ended up taking the win and becoming world champ.
That's not where they're having the Olympics next year, is there? Wait, you took the win in this? You're the world champion as well? Jesus Christ. Nuts. Man, I'm sorry for over skipping that one.
Oh, you're good.
I just got lost when you got bummed on the jump, and then I was thinking, is that the Olympic jump next year? But then you won. But great. So, world champion, big air, Crystal Globe winner in slopestyle, big air, big air.
Yeah.
Fucking X Games, big air or slopestyle champion, X Games, slopes or big air. So Jesus Christ, yeah, it's nuts, man. Like it's really nuts. Like you should write it all down and look at it on a piece of paper and just know what was accomplished in one season for reflection, because that's not even realistic to go through.
Right.
So
really not. But
congratulations, like big, because that was your last event of the year, right?
That was the last comp, yeah.
So your last copy went out super top.
Yeah.
What do you do when you could finally relax now the competition's over? Like, what was the first thing you did when you were like, okay, this season was epic, but thank God it's over?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. During World Champs, I was tired. I was pretty bumming on comp skiing. The whole year this year was like training to compete, then competing. Then when you're not competing, you're training for the next comp. And I felt like I didn't get any time to just go ski with the homies. And I was pretty burnt, honestly, at the end of World Champs there. But anyways, my buddy Lion Farrell and we went to this lake town in Switzerland called Lugano for a few days. And we were meant to be there for like a week. We're just getting away from the snow, going to chill, have a good time, calm down, settle down, reflect on the season. We were there for like 2.5 days and we got bored, and then we got on a train and went to Locks and went skiing again.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's totally different kind of skiing, you know? Like right now you're skiing because it's fun. So it's like, big up yourself on that, because like it's a crazy mental game that you have to switch over to.
Yeah.
And be okay with it, because it's such a regimen where it's like compete, okay, forget about it, travel.
Yeah.
Like how can you do real recovery with the travel between each one? Like go on an airplane, have the worst fucking recovery you could ever imagine for your body. Like everything about it is totally different than enjoying the sport.
Absolutely.
And being like, okay, let's go go to a friend's couch and film for 2 weeks and ski every day. And when we crash, it's funny because we watch the footage and I can ski tomorrow. Woo! Yeah. So like, I think that's what's impressive too. The idea where you can like actually figure out how to find fun in it.
For sure. And that's another big thing. It's another question I get a lot. They're like, dude, how do you just ski all the time? Like, are you not tired? And it's like, it's such a difference going out, skiing with the homies, having a good time, just messing around, having fun, trying new stuff, versus, training, hucking triple corks, doing competitions, like 2 separate worlds. And I will never get tired of having fun skiing with the boys and, with my friends.
No,
like,
the body functions. Why wouldn't you?
That's like a break for me, That's literally my break, is just having fun, still skiing.
What do you got, Ethan? Man, we just went through the epicness, the fucking year of his life.
It's cool getting to see him here at Mammoth, getting to be in that chill spot, because Mammoth is pretty fun right now. So it's cool times. It's good times. I got a viewer.
That is the best training you can ever do when you chill, because you're probably taking more laps now and having fun and learning more and having softness and not the pain on your body as midwinter pounding with mental stress, where it's like, dude, why wouldn't you take 300 runs today?
Exactly.
Let's see. Viewer questions from Sam Zahner. This one's great. What's the craziest trick you've ever gotten first tee?
I saw that one. Shout out Zahner. I gotta say the triple 21 at X Games, like literally the craziest moment of my life.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one for first tee. That's pretty big, I'd say.
But I mean, most of the tricks that I've tried have been first tee. I'm quite a calculated skier, and I won't do anything unless I know I'm ready for it. But yeah, I mean, the other one would probably be like my first dub 10. I was like the sickest feeling in the world.
Everybody knows the rules now. If you can't dub 10, you suck. That's it.
Pretty much.
This dude, Bruz skis, and this kind of relates to your answer for the last one. Like, what do you think about when you throw a trick like a Trip 21? Are you turning your brain off?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like I've learned so much in the progression of just like learning new tricks and learning the next step and doing that bigger trick, and figuring out what works for me personally. And with a trick like the Trip 21, I had already done the Trip 19 blunt. I'd warmed up. I was ready for it. And there was like, I try to only focus on 1 to 2 things when I'm trying a new trick. You know, if you're focusing on like, oh, I need to watch my speed. Oh, I need to focus on this part on my takeoff. Wait until I grab here. Spot the landing here. Then there's like too much going on in your brain. Like your body knows how to do so much of these tricks that your brain doesn't need to be thinking about all of that. So basically for me on the 21, it was like when I spot, I'm like, I just need a big powerful set, and then I'm just going to hold the grab and keep looking. And that was all I thought about. But then, yeah, my brain kind of just shut off for that one. It's kind of...
Are you dizzy when you land a 21?
That's a great question.
Honestly, no, not on that one. But when it's like, when you've just had a big break and you're getting back on snow and you do like, if you do like a line of like 3 different doubles, you definitely get dizzy. And but your body like naturally starts to adjust to that, getting used to spinning more and but yeah, definitely the first few ones you definitely feel it, but your body naturally starts to adjust after time.
Yeah,
I can relate. I go on swings with my kids.
Yeah,
Like when I start to swing, it makes me dizzy, but after a while, I'm not dizzy.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Your body just will figure it out. But yeah, I mean, if you were to do that straight off the bat, you'd definitely be dizzy.
yeah. All right. Well, those are the best of the viewer questions. There's some other ones related to the future, and this is good because we caught you right when things are starting to pop. So, like, what are your goals? What are you trying to do with this?
Yeah, I got a few goals. There's definitely more to becoming a skier than what I've shown so far. You know, I think right now I'm quite known as a competition skier, you know, someone who just does big tricks. And I'm going to continue this going into this Olympics because this is the big push right now. And then, of course, the goal would be to win an Olympic medal, hopefully a gold one. That's my biggest dream. Hopefully in both slope and bigger. That'd be awesome.
That'd be epic.
But yeah, that's the main goal. I'm going to be doing a little film project in New Zealand this year with a homie Rowan, who's from Queenstown. But yeah, I mean, in the future, now that I've kind of created a bit more of a name for myself and I have, you know, a bit more success in my career, I feel like I have the time and the name to start to bring myself more into the filming side of things and to make some projects and to give back to the community a little more. But again, I'm talking after the Olympics when things start to settle down again. This year and next year are just a bit heavy with the whole competition scene and prepping for that. Because, you know, I worked my whole life for this, so I'm going to keep going at it and then kind of go from there. But yeah, definitely want to get more into some filming. Would love to get the opportunity to go and film with some bigger companies like TGR, MSP, stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
When does the craziness for this Olympic cycle start? Like you're chilling, you're kind of chilling right now. Like when does it become grind time?
Right as to get back to New Zealand. So we don't have any comps in New Zealand, no World Cups. And
Is that official? Do you know if there's officially no World Cup in August?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Okay.
no comps this year. But yeah, so it's a perfect time for me. I get to be at home. I'm with my family, and I'm skiing my own home resort. And I'm very grateful for Cadrona to be able to build us some pretty incredible facilities for us to train and learn new stuff on. So big ups to them. And yeah, that's kind of when things will get hectic. Gonna just kind of focus on my skiing, and it's a great time to train and still be at home and be having fun and have a lot of my friends out there. So it's not necessarily all focused on comp and training, but still like getting enough time to really push myself and make a good amount of progression going into this Olympics. But yeah, I'm not really sure if what I'm doing for the next few World Cups ahead of the Olympics. I definitely don't think I'm going to do all of them. I don't need to. I don't want to hurt myself. I might just kind of focus on my skiing and training for the next bit.
Do you put X Games on your schedule?
For sure.
Okay. I was wondering how it works nowadays. If you know you have an Olympic spot, like if you're like, because you just said,
yeah,
potentially you don't want to hurt yourself, but yet you want to go to the biggest platform and potentially hurt yourself. I like it.
For sure, but I mean, never pass up an X Games.
No, I hear you. I get it. It's just I'm just curious on the mental, because I remember when Olympics first got in for snowboarding, and a lot of the girl snowboarders I traveled with didn't do anything but their Olympic sport.
Yeah.
That year, even though they always filmed in every element, they just eliminated everything.
Right.
And so I was just curious how it worked nowadays.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't put a lot of thought into that. I'm still just taking a break from the season and reflecting and decompressing, having some fun.
Awesome. You deserve it, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy it, stay healthy, fucking keep killing it. Because
Sure.
If you have fun, like, yeah, the sky's the limit. It's only if you put a stress on yourself, there's going to be a trouble.
Yeah, right?
Yep, guarantee it. There's no stress in life. Life is great. You woke up.
Absolutely.
Sick. Well, I think that might be it. I think we're gonna let you go. We'll do a little outro unless Iberg's got any last second stuff.
No, man, just thank you. Thank you for telling your stories. Stoked to hear it. Stoked to hear your passion. Crazy to hear what you accomplished in 1 year for the sport, 1 year for your country, 1 year for where you came from, besides so many super legends. Big up yourself, man.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you guys both for having me on. This is an honor. And yeah, we appreciate what you guys do. We love hearing everyone's stories. And thank you. You're really, bringing new people into our sport. And we love learning and hearing the stories, especially me, like I get to hear stories of of Tanner's days, of Jossie's days, all the big dogs. And yeah, we love what you guys do. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You just banged out 3 hours of this show. It probably flew by, but
yeah, no, that was chill. Thanks
cool.
for chatting with me.
Yeah, dude. All right, we'll let you go, and thank you again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Have a great day.
Talk to you guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Sick. Pretty
That
dope.
was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Who would have thought we were going 3 hours with a guy I don't know?
Yeah, I mean,
Fucking
he was a natural. He was a natural, and that X Games story, it was very reminiscent of Joss's Olympic story. It's epic. It's an epic story.
His whole year is, man, at age 21.
Year, yeah, it was crazy.
Like, I look at it on just every single thing: World Cups, X Games, overalls, World Championships, and you're like, really, just look at the globe, spin it around, and look at where his piece of land is that he comes from.
Yeah.
So to be able to intertwine with the rest of our world, North America and Europe, and then to dominate it from the infrastructure that we all have compared to the infrastructure they have, it's fucking wicked.
Yeah, it's so sick. What was
Wanaka.
the DPH on that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 and 3. So 4.
4 DPH. We did it.
You told me to step it up, but oh man, I hope the air conditioning guy didn't steal anything. Got a text, he already left.
Oh shit. All right, that was pretty sick. I'm stoked on Luca. I think we got a rising star on our hands.
Yeah, big fan, big fan. Let's see. Let's hope he gets to one of those Wells status, man.
Epic.
But that will happen after the competition. Maybe brings home some golds and then goes whatever. We'll see. Time will tell.
This is what I know because this episode's coming out in the fall. We might have to
probably be the first week of October, I'm guessing.
We might have to do an emergency episode with whoever wins the Olympics in our off season.
That's fine. I mean, our season's done the end of October, so we can do whatever in the winter.
Yeah, we'll figure it out because it's gonna be huge. We got a new gold medalist coming up. Who's it gonna be?
What do you say? No one can read. Who won last time?
Who won last time? Last time it was I didn't say it. Who do we have so far for gold medalists? We got
Jaws,
Oystein,
Burke.
Burkett and Big Air.
Are we only doing slopestyle? I don't know. It's too confusing.
All I know is slope. Oystein, A-Hall. We'll see who's up.
We'll see, man. You know, if I put money on anyone, I'm putting it on Henrik. But
cool.
I love everything else.
Yeah. All right. We'll call it there. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Tune into the next one. Subscribe. All that good stuff. Check out the links in the bio. Iberg.
See you tomorrow.
Peace out.
Peace.